There we go. Okay. Am I logged in? Are we here? Miguel is here. People. Why does it want me to log in? That's really weird. That's like really weird. It literally never asks me this. I know I'm not crazy. I can't see the stream chat. Just a second. I don't get why it's making me do this. It wants me to verify that I'm not a robot. Which is like really rude. Oh my god. Jesus. Times I have to do this. Oh my god. Fuck. Oh my god. Okay, finally I logged into this. I really don't know why there are so many coffee's pretty good. Hi Romulus, hello. Let's see now, am I connected on my audio? So let's go to our audio. And we notice that we were not. Okay, so that's good. All right. Now let's look up the Discord. Now I've never done this. This is a new thing we're doing. We are going to phone a friend. As soon as I figure out how to do that, it's over for y'all motherfuckers. Get out of here, kitty boy. Okay, I missed a call from Conquer. Hello, Loco Light Boy. I remember you. What's up? What's so funny? You know the Loco Light Boy? Yeah. I am late. I'm very late and I'm very sorry, okay? Your mom literally ran overtime. Hello, Cherry Badass. Eats against the poor. That's cool. Good. Send me that shit, tough guy. Let's start pumping it out. Pump up the volume. You're on YouTube. That's cool. Well, send me your YouTube page. Send the chat your YouTube page. What are you doing? All right, where is Conquer the Concubine? I still don't know technically how to make a phone call on Discord, but we're learning. See, it looks like you were able to call me. Now, how do I call you? Look at this. I can do everything but call. I have Conquer the Concubine's profile pulled up right now. We're ready to go. Let's see, let's view full profile. Get a message, yes. Oh, here we go. There we go. Look at that. We started a call. Check it out. We're calling Conquer the Concubine. And let's see if it works. Maybe I should turn this up. Oh, look, there. Oh my goodness, we've got a live feed. This is so cool. Wait, hang on. We got to I can't hear you, by the way, if you're speaking. This is so new to me. Can anyone here Conquer the Concubine? Yeah, I know. Just give me a second, Cherry. We're going to fix this. Toot sweet, okay? Toot sweet. Okay. They just motioned 1 minute. You know, if you're, I don't hear any sound, so if that's. Hopefully they'll get that figured out. So we're just waiting. This is like watching a chick peck out of an egg. Fuck you, Phil. Who asked what your opinion was of this? Motherfuckers want to step to this. They're trying to step to this. That's ridiculous. Mmm. Damn, that smells great. Is my audio device on Discord set to the right output? Okay, that could be a question. Now, let's see. I mean, we're living and we're growing and we're caring and we're showing and we're sharing together. And that's really what it's all about, folks. Let's see, voice and video. Yeah, it should be. Voice settings, I mean, output, input, that all looks good. Seems like it's picking up my microphone. The question is it happening for Conquer the Concubine? Because I still have no sound. Like, I can't hear a goddamn thing. There they are. Are you talking right now? Because I can't hear you. Yeah, I still can't hear you. Okay, is it okay if I pulled up your screen? Nod your head yes. Blink twice. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not. I mean, you can hear me, I can't hear you. Oh, wait, now I can hear you. Wait, hang on. Do that? Yeah, there we go.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right.
Did you just change something?
Palestine, free Palestine.
There we go.
Free Palestine. All right, I'm gonna stop now.
Yes. No, keep going. Okay, wait.
Are you down?
I'm doing great. I want to pull up the screen, your screen, so people can see you and we can have a conversation. Is that cool? Or do you prefer just to have your voice be shown?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna fix my thing really quick, just so like.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you don't want that, I can go back to my original scene and we can just do a voiceover sort of thing. Because I think, let me just make sure that they can hear you. Yeah, they're extremely quiet because we don't have the right. Let me make sure that it's listening to the right thing. Hold on, we'll get this figured out. Toot sweet. We're gonna do window capture. We'll do the Discord. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, now. Now it should be capturing the audio from the Discord. So if Conquer decides to speak to us, it should come through. And if not, I'm not sure what the situation is, but they just went up to fix something. So we'll just wait. I'll turn this up a little bit louder.
Alright, I had to plug my computer in. Are we live?
Yes. Okay, now, can you guys hear? I just need to make sure that they can hear you very well. I'm going to crank up the... Maybe there's some, like... I know it's coming through, but it might be a little low. So let me make sure that we can... We'll go to advanced, we'll go to property, we'll go to filters, that's what we'll do. And we'll add an audio filter to crank up the gain so that people can hear you nice and easy. All right, I just cranked up the gain on barely audible as the bush has mentioned. Right, yes. Okay, we'll wait for just a second. They're still getting situated. So we will see momentarily. You know what I should do? I should do studio mode. Okay. Now, if I do that, then it's all right. Well, hello. It's nice to finally meet you.
Hold on, we're skipping just a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. I think the chat can hear you as well, unless anybody has any objections to that.
Wrath and Wrath boners, do you have any objection? Can I keep going?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we're...
I'm lagging just a little bit, so if I like ask you to repeat them.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Don't lag.
Well, it seems like it seems like it's going fine. How are you doing? I mean, what's going on? It's nice to finally see you, and thank you so much for being here and being on the stream and doing all the moderating and all the things you do for the stream, and also for being so based. And then also on top of that, should we share your screen, or do you want it to be a voiceover? I'm not sure if we.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'm having some technical issues right now.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah.
I hate when that happens. All right. While they're doing that, I'm gonna change. Oh, I think the call got ended. We'll get them pulled back up. Let's see if I can fix this for a second. Okay.
Hey, are we back?
Yes. Hello again.
Sorry about that.
No problem whatsoever. I'm still figuring things out on my end as well. I'm about to share what I see so that people can see you and see me, and this is how a conversation happens, you know? Two people talking. All right.
Yeah, man. All right. You want to start?
Yes, let's start. Let's do it.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Hell
Yes.
yeah, man. All right. So let's get this shit going. I am so happy to finally be talking to you. It kind of feels very surreal.
Well,
By the way, are you hearing me well?
yes, I can hear fine, and now we've got the full experience. I've got you pulled up on the stream, and everybody say hello to Conquer. Just
Hello, rap and rap boners.
there
Oh
we
my
go.
God.
I'm so glad we got. I'm so glad we got a chance to do this.
Because like it's very odd because I remember seeing like your videos for the very first time, like it just kind of feels like it's been like it feels like it's been a lot longer than it has because like I really feel like
Yeah.
the past year has changed my life in
Oh.
an unbelievable, insurmountable way in ways that I can't even begin to conceive right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I remember I found your videos. It was actually when Hassan started broadcasting them.
Mm.
And yeah, it was a Ben Shapiro one. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's
Oh
right.
my God.
Um,
Oh, that was so satisfying.
yeah, I do remember. I do remember now that you said that. That's what I remember you saying that you were a spillover from Hassan's audience, which I thought was really cool.
Like I started watching Hassan right after the 2020 election because like I started really getting into like what I call the study of hogs, like conservative watching, which I really, and I still do it every once in a while. Although like I realize that hogism is universal, and there are definitely Democrat hogs and liberal hogs. Oh my God, and it seems that like.
Okay.
There's always that like famous phrase that when you scratch a liberal, like
A fascist bleeds. That's right.
Yes, and so seeing people revert so quickly within like less than a week, actually being like, hey, maybe Orange Man good,
Right.
maybe Adolf Hitler good,
Right.
maybe he good, maybe he good,
I know.
like maybe we can put him, maybe we can work with Adolf Hitler. Like, no, you can't. You can't work with Adolf Hitler.
No, you really
And
can't.
It was like, liberal media going from one moment saying that he is a fascist,
Yeah.
and then letting
Right.
him leave, being like, oh, like maybe he good,
Yeah.
maybe Mustache Man good,
I know.
maybe the gash that's good. Like it's not. It's a and I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm ranting, but it's just like I think the election is an expression of class anger, like
Right.
universal class anger that people have chosen to ignore, and that has come with dire consequences. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing Hassan, talking about like the polls because the polls were like not looking good.
Yeah.
And like clearly not looking good, and it's like this message that you're promoting to people is not working.
Right.
It's not working. Why is it not working?
Right.
And the fact is that they knew it wasn't working. They didn't give a shit that it wasn't working.
No. By
They
design.
did not give a shit.
Yeah.
Because if a dumbass like me, like a random internet dumbass, can see this, and I'm not a Democratic Party strategist, I'm not I'm not a liberal news analyst, like I'm just a random person.
Right.
And if I, a random person, sorry, am I skipping?
No, we were having trouble, the chat was having trouble of hearing you, but I fixed it, I think, and they were saying It's much better now. So we got it fixed. Well, I'm right there with you with the whole messaging. Yeah, they were completely just out of touch, obviously, you know, and
Seems purposely out of touch,
yeah, yeah,
like on purpose. Like,
right.
there's, I used to listen to. I mean, back when I was still identified as a liberal, I would listen to Pod Save America. I would listen to all the Pod Save like podcasts every once in a while, and like they're very, very loyal Democrat. Like they're very loyal to the Democratic Party. I mean, the guys that who run that podcast, they, they were speechwriters for Barack Obama. I mean, so they came out recently with kind of a crazy revelation that the Biden administration had projections back in January of this year that if he ran, Donald Trump was projected to get 400 electoral votes.
Really?
And they still decided to run anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't give a shit.
Right. Because it's the uniparty.
And
right? It's
yes,
the
it
corporate
is.
duopoly. It's like it's these. Who are their handlers? You know.
Hold on, repeat that one more time. You cut out.
I was just saying, you're right on point. It's by design. You know, they do this on purpose. It's like whoever, Holyfield throwing the fight or something. It's a boxer throwing the fight. It's the uniparty. It's who are I was just saying, like, who are their handlers? That's the real question. Who is handling these people? It's the same class of people. So they engineer it how they want it to be, and I think it's by design. And I didn't know that, though, that they already were project. So where did that information come from? From the Biden administration itself? Like within.
I guess the Pod Johns. Hold on, if I bring up the
and
video,
Pod Save
they
America, you
came
saw
out-
that, right?
Yeah. Pod,
Yeah.
Sorry, the Pod Johns. I keep calling them that. They're all
Yeah.
named John.
I never watched. I think I've seen that, like, listened to it once or twice. I never really got into it, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that I appreciate for what it was, because I would check back in with them every once in a while, because I
Yeah.
mean it's so liberal coded, but I
yeah.
mean,
Whenever
like,
like Washington, insiders, try to follow the minutia of Washington, and like, it just sounds like they're justifying it, and
they're selling our shit back to us.
yeah.
Like they're selling our discontent back to us without doing anything.
Yeah, they sort of end up apologizing for, I think, following like elections, I really don't, whatever is happening in Washington, and it's like, it's such a, I don't know, it's not something that I like to focus on, I guess. But, I think we should. I mean, at the same time, I have two wolves inside of me. It's like, fuck all that, but then also, like, we should not avert our eyes from the spectacle. We should pay attention to the dumbassery. But
Especially because, like, to be honest, like, the way I like to think about it is that America and its politics have now turned into like a spectacle. It's a spectacle sport.
absolutely,
That's why
yeah,
people,
yeah,
are
Spectator
more,
sport.
but like they, people like Rachel Maddow used to have, what's his name? God, I forgot. He's Jeremy Scahill from Breaking Points.
Mm.
He would come on when during the Bush administration, Baby Bush, the
Baby
little
Bush.
George W. during
Yeah, the dubs.
during the Iraq War, and they would talk about drone strikes, and she would have them on, and they were best friends. And then Barack Obama came to the scene, and Barack Obama started doing drone strikes, and Jeremy Scahill was like, "Hey, this is an issue. This is a problem." And Rachel Maddow was like, "I'm sorry, we're taking a different direction.
What does that mean?
Like we're not
gonna cover
going
that.
to." Yes, exactly.
Yeah. We
Like,
don't want to highlight the sins of empire. We're too high on
Yes,
our
it's-
Obama moment.
Yeah, like let us be super happy that it's now a black man dropping bombs
That's
on the
right.
baby.
Well, when Obama was first elected, I definitely got caught up in that. I was like, oh man, what a beautiful moment for America.
was, but honestly, it was like I respect it for what it was,
Yeah.
because like it is what it is, but we can still recognize and criticize the fact that like Obama was still like a puppet,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
1000%. Yeah. And
I
materially,
respect the
the
fact that
policies that were
yeah,
carried out by Obama were no different, in some instances far worse than the presidents that were previous to him, you know?
oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. Drone strike shit.
yeah, he
Absolutely.
pioneered that. One point that Noam Chomsky, not this Chomsky, but the real Noam Chomsky says is that, like, yeah, George W. Bush, like, he would send the terrorists to Guantanamo Bay and torture them. But Obama was like, we're just gonna K-word them outright, you know? We'll just save all the trouble of sending them to a camp. I was like, damn. So Obama's pretty
It
savage.
takes the money, having to torture them and having to house
Yeah.
them, and get a
Just kill
nice
them while they're at their
steak.
wedding, you know?
Yeah,
And
like
their
when
whole
they're
family.
nice and happy, that way, their last moments burning to death can be a nice one, you know?
I mean,
Sorry.
we laugh, but it's like, at this point, it's just the depravity of this country. It's just, I don't think it has any. It's a bottomless pit, you know.
Yes, and which is why the way I look at it, like I like to look at it is like, like as like a hogwatch moment for me because like for me it's like people ask me why I don't watch reality TV. It's because I watch the real fucking reality
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
And it's called American Politics.
yeah, yeah. We got a front row seat.
Like yes, exactly. And now like, just think about like the worst kind of reality TV show. It's like and I remember saying this out loud years ago, and I was like, the day that a reality TV star becomes our fucking president, we're in real trouble. And I said this before Donald Trump came on the
Wow.
scene, Mr. Donald Trump. But I said that out loud, like, and I remember that.
Well, now
But honestly, no,
we're in that moment.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. We just saying we're in that moment that you predicted. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of, it doesn't feel good.
right,
Like,
right.
there's things I've said out loud that I feel like, and it's not because like I have the gift of like foresight or anything like that. Like, I mean, I don't think that any one person can predict like free will. Like, as we can study sociology, we can study like patterns, but no one person can predict free will. Just
Yeah,
can't do that.
yeah.
And, I really do feel like my whole life has led up to this moment of
Absolutely.
me being involved with the movement against American imperialism.
Yeah,
I really feel that way. I feel like every moment of my life has led up to this
yeah.
in
Definitely.
a huge way.
Um,
Yeah,
for sure, the same. I feel like everything, all my experiences have led me here to this point, and the time is now.
absolutely. No, this is not a dress rehearsal for sure. And
Right.
there was someone who told me the other day, she was like, because I told her like, I'm involved in some activism work and it's not something I'll talk about with you because I mean, I work with her and I was like, I don't want to alienate you. And she goes, I feel like you're one of God's warriors. And it's like, and I took a pause about that because it's like, I don't like to think of myself that way. I believe in God, certainly. And I've expressed that. But,
Yeah.
when you say you're one of God's warriors, it's just like, it feels that there's that kind of exceptionalism that is weaponized, like that imperialists will use to weaponize religion.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like I'm just doing what I can. I think that like, keeping the grip of humility about yourself, even though like, it does feel kind of good and it's elating to understand class consciousness. And I can
Mm-hmm.
always, I can absolutely understand why it would be, really easy for people to get ahead of themselves and get really arrogant. But, I think that you don't convince people to come on your side by being a complete fucking asshole, like I believe that you convince people by offering them something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, you know, we the um, we the left, the real left, we say we want to give more of your tax money back to you. We want to give you universal health care. We do not want to interfere in your lives. We just want to, make sure you have material needs. that you have all your material needs met. You do not want to.
Whoa.
That's why. What?
I think we just got oogie boogied.
We got Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
We got Boogie Boogie.
100
Oh my
subs. Oh my goodness. Sorry for the annoying alert sounds, but wow, yo, we got 100 gifted subs from
Oh
our
my God.
our glorious
We got
anonymous
Boogie.
super pack. Tell,
Hey, Saeed, I can't see you.
but he can see you.
Okay,
Can't he?
awesome. Right on.
So there we go.
Palestine. All right.
Let's see
Here
if he
we
let's
go.
see if he shows up, if the Oogie Boogie Man makes an appearance. But we thank you, Oogie and Boogie. No, you're really touching on a lot of good points, and I feel like I noticed from time to time you'll tell me that you're actually engaged in radicalizing people that you know, like family members and I guess coworkers as well. You know, it just you find yourself talking about politics a lot and talking about the current events and trying to get them to see your side of things.
Well, I'm very gifted because I was raised by very beautiful people,
Yeah,
and they were Reaganites originally,
right.
and they kind of have seen the results of neoliberalism, and I think and they definitely have some resistance, but for the most part they've been pretty receptive. Like,
That's good.
I asked them for some resources tonight, and they were like pretty receptive about it. For example, there's a keffiyeh that my grandfather has from Egypt that my dad showed me that I didn't even know he had. And guess what? It's a Palestinian keffiyeh, actually.
Okay.
It has the design. It has the black and white like diamond design.
And it
He
was
got it from Egypt.
Oh wow. He did? Your dad?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's
my dad's father. Yes.
okay. Your grandfather. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a little bit of awareness there, at least with the the geopolitics of it, the oppressed versus oppressor. They kind of get that. They can kind of see.
Well, it's very funny because I don't think my grandfather knew that it was a Palestinian keffiyeh.
Oh,
Because,
okay. He just thought, I'm in Egypt.
He was
Yeah.
diapers. He loved the diapers. My father, on the other hand, has always been very empathetic
Okay.
for Palestine. Like, he's one of those people where like he and certainly he has his own like like he has certain and I don't want to talk about too much about my family, but he
This is Dr.
he's
Phil.
very
This
receptive
is your opening up hour, okay? You have to tell us everything and anything and also all of your personal information so we can
I
have
gotta
that.
tell you all my secrets now.
Yeah.
I'm required to broadcast my secrets on the internet. Oh, good. I love
And your
broadcasting
social security number and all that.
especially secrets.
No. Well, I mean, it seems like with your grandfather now to your father, now to you, it's like it's gotten more progressive,
Well,
I guess, for lack of a better word. Through the
'cause,
generations.
yes, absolutely. Because I don't think that there's any other like communists in my family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
think there has been. Like, I do think that there is. I think that many people recognize that material needs are not being met.
Right.
Obviously.
Exactly.
You know.
And you were talking about that earlier. That's sort of where my mind went when you said, take out the scary words, but you just say we want universal health care. We want workers' rights, and when you speak to those points, you can get more people on your side because again, you're speaking. That's the Marxism. That's the Marxist angle. I feel like is to speak
Yes.
to the material conditions. We're united by the economy and what we do for the economy. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
It's like, yeah, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's like it's an ADHD thing.
No, I have it too.
And
By the way,
yeah,
amazing
it's like,
hair. Can we get a round of applause for Conker's hair? I had no idea. Wow. Feeling right at home at the mosh pit and leading the chants for Free Palestine.
Like, absolutely, I do. I love that shit. And I know that you're not a fan, and I understand like why a music teacher would not be a fan of punk and metal. I get it. Like,
I like punk.
However, like, you do?
But here,
Right
but
on.
look, as I say that, I have like Mozart transcripts behind me. I'm a bit of a nerd though, so yeah. You're
Actually, I'm a big fan of class. In fact, classical kind of primed me for metal. Actually, like some of like the math shit.
that's true. They were the original.
I know that's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the original metalheads. Okay, the composers. Just kidding. I don't know, but you do have composer like hair, rock star hair, and that was a surprise to see. And the Palestinian gold chain.
Oh yes,
Isn't it?
It's actually calligraphy.
Oh, cool.
It says in Arabic calligraphy, "Free Palestine."
Okay. I would never be able to read that, but that's
Jordan.
what's that?
It came from Jordan.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I actually ordered it all the way from Jordan.
Wow.
It came from Jordan. And I ordered actually a real Palestinian keffiyeh recently because I was preparing I didn't know if I was going to be like broadcasted live, and I was like, I don't know if I want to show like my whole face
Right.
just yet. Like I'm
Yeah.
not comfortable doing that just yet.
Yeah.
But
see.
I mean, eventually, yes, eventually, because I think that, I feel like this is one of the most important things in my life besides, my job and what I do. And I think that part of like what I do as, also contributes to my activism as well. Like, I don't want to talk about too much about like what I do, but part of what I do is I do peer support for people in the criminal justice system.
Oh.
Yeah, so I connect people to like resources in the community that might help them like, get hooked up with their, first job or, get hooked up with a shelter and things like that, get hooked up with community food banks. And like in a way, like in a secret way, I feel like I'm doing like socialism
Yeah.
without,
So what peer support meaning that you are working with like rehabilitated, criminals?
no, I
or?
like I go in sometimes to the jail and
Yeah.
talk to people.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you just got a heart of gold, don't you?
Well, it's never boring for sure. Like it's one of those things that, it's always going to be some new goddamn disaster that happens every day, and it's always
Right.
going to be some new impossible situation. We're all overbooked and overworked, and then I come home and then I get online, and then we talk about genocide, and like. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like I'm living in a very interesting time in my life, for sure. Like it's a very intense moment,
And we're happy to be alive. I mean, think about how lucky we are to not.
absolutely, like even when I'm at my job, because I think to myself, no matter how bad of a job or bad of a day I have, those people are definitely having a worse day than me, and certainly the Palestinians are having a way worse day than me. Like
Yep.
I can still have,
And it makes you feel selfish for complaining or feeling ungrateful because you know what people are going through halfway across the world. It really puts things in perspective. But then you also have to like give grace to yourself, and I think we know that we only know our personal experiences, and we can still feel a certain way about things, even though there is a bigger picture and there's obviously a lot at stake that is important.
Right, and I think that this, because like Name It Maine was bringing up something really interesting the other day about
Really? Name it, Maine? He
Maine.
brought up something interesting?
Yeah, she brought up something interesting.
Wow. Wait, is she? Did you say she? I don't know what the
I didn't
pronouns.
mean to.
Okay.
I hope that I don't know if I misgendered you. Name
He,
It
she,
Maine, if you're-
he, she, or they. One of them. But I mean, no. What did they say? I was just kidding. Name it, Maine.
So, Name It was mentioning, like just she was asking, or that Name It was asking some very basic questions, like,
Right.
how do we implement socialism? What does a revolution look like?
Right, right.
Who distributes the wealth in socialism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are fair questions.
Yeah.
Those are some very basic questions, and those are good questions to ask too.
Mm-hmm.
And like I sent like a video, like a second thought video on like social, that breaks down like the fundamentals of socialism really well.
Yeah.
And part of like I think is how we implement doing the socialist communist revolution is we start by education, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
If like God forbid, and I want to clarify what I mean when I say revolution. I know that like a part of like I think American imperialism against communism and revolution is that they mischaracterize it as like thinking that they want to violently overthrow the government, which isn't necessarily implied.
No, it's not.
And it also implies further that that we want to subvert the majority will of the people, when a socialist and communist revolution takes the majority will of people, no matter what.
Right.
Like it's about the people and the majority will, confronting the people in charge who are the minority for not respecting our needs.
100.
And I think the way we think about things, the way we think about that word revolution is it like scares the shit out of people sometimes. But I personally think that with the way things look right now, and I kind of hesitate to say this, but I do believe this. I think that revolution is inevitable.
Certainly, it's a historical development. Right.
Yes. Something I was doing to prepare for the talk was I was looking at Karl Marx's The Scientific Breakdown of American imperialism, or no, not imperialism, but the way that social classes develop. Like first there's primitive communism, and that's like indigenous tribe,
right,
and things like that. And then there's and please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember them all. It's the second one is imperialist class, where there's kings and queens, and basically, and the way that develops was that in the primitive communism, the people who were the best hunters, the best gatherers, eventually overtook and overthrew, gained control of the will of the people, and that's when kings and queens came about. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, right.
And then, eventually, and then after imperialism came the capitalist class, which is what we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which, there's basically, the kings and queens, there's feudalism, but essentially, capitalism is more or less an advanced form of feudalism.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. It's a hybrid sort of form of feudalism, you could say.
Yeah, because promoting like independent interests. It's like, you're your own person. You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and everyone can be a billionaire.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm reading the chat, and one of them had a good question. They said, how do we overcome this hyper-individualism in capitalism, where that's a big part of capitalism, is what Rust Carpet said. How do we get over hyper-individualism that's such a big part of capitalism? I think that's a good question.
It's a damn good question, actually.
But,
But I would...
Yeah.
Did you want to start?
No, please go ahead. I was asking you.
So what I would say with hyper-individualism is, like, I would talk to people, and I would, because like people would usually say that capitalism is human nature, and that we're all out for ourselves and all that shit. And in nature itself, you will never see a squirrel, for example, getting a bunch of nuts. Like getting all these fucking nuts and keeping it for himself and keeping his little nut cave, and then letting all his little like squirrely friends starve to death, and like giving them little meager bits of nuts. Like, no, that doesn't fucking happen. That doesn't fucking happen in nature. number one.
I'm still trying to
Yeah,
get. I'm still trying to get over the image of a nut cave.
Him and his little nuts. No. He's
Right.
got his own like Amazon nut, his own
Prime
nut
delivery.
factory.
Yeah.
His day nut delivery.
Right. Right.
Awesome. But yeah, I mean, you don't see that in nature.
Nature, right, exactly.
Animals cooperate with each other.
Yeah.
And when you and like one thing I would say when it comes going back to humans, I tell them, everything that you do in your life, it's a group activity. Like when you drive, that's a group activity, for example. Your fate depends on hundreds of people
Right.
you will never meet.
Yep. That's
when you
right.
drive.
Right.
When
right.
you go grocery shopping, for example, like when you get food, when you get clean water, that decision is made by a multitude of people you will probably never encounter.
Well, respectfully,
It's never just about you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but respectfully, I just have to disagree completely with you because I know that Margaret Thatcher said that there is no society. So I believe her. And Ronald Reagan. And no, but in all seriousness, you're right. That we all depend on other parts of the supply chain. We all depend on.
We can't criticize the iron cunt. I mean, I'm sorry, the iron lady. My bad.
And it's not like speaking of nuts, it's not like you just came out of a coconut tree. Okay?
Yeah,
you didn't
like,
just fall out of
you just
coconut.
saw a coconut. Honestly, like I like it, even though it's kind of corny. But I mean, it's actually kind of based, like it's communist in nature.
I know.
Essentially.
Yeah, we all. I know it's the meme. We all come from a society. It's like it's supposed to be a socialist like sort of joke, but it's so true. We all are in this together, But people just don't want to. People are just drinking the capitalist Kool-Aid. And just getting back to a point that you were touching on earlier about how revolutions that people say are just violent overthrow of the government, but what they never factor in, I always feel like this is a great retort, and I think Michael Parenti maybe had taught me this, but it's not that revolutions are violent, it's that reforms are always violently resisted by the ruling class. We would love to peacefully reform the government. The problem is they're not going to allow that to happen. And it makes sense because those in power are not going to just give their power away. They have to be, but when we go out in the streets and we protest and we do all these things, what is it met with? It's met with state violence. It's that reformations are violently resisted. It's not that revolutions are violent. It's that reformations are violently resisted. So I think that's a good answer if you ever have people that want to pearl clutch about the violence of a revolution, and yet they are totally cool with the violence that's happening right now in the present day. They pearl clutch at imaginary future situations that haven't happened yet, but what they're basically saying is, I'm cool with everything, all the violence that's happening right now, which is such a liberal, privileged position. Just means that you're not personally affected right now. So it doesn't concern you, but
Until I'm affected before I give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the state of the world. I mean, I feel like there's so many people are walking around with that kind of mentality.
Like during COVID, for example, especially during COVID, this capitalist fucking idea of like you gotta get something, fuck what the other guy needs, fuck that. It's about you and your family and nobody else. You don't have to think about anybody else. People grabbing shit off the shelves, not thinking about anyone else.
Dude, I fought an old grandma for like the last thing of toilet paper at Kroger. I beat her up and I stole. I had to get my toilet paper. What do you want me to do?
You know what? Just what you can do is just repurpose a bidet or something. Just like repurpose like an old Nerf squirt gun. Get one of those children's water gun toys from the store.
She ended up being fine. Okay, it was a little light battery. I've served my time is all I'm trying to say. Okay, chat. That's Part of my past.
So grandma won. Grandma was the one who got the toilet paper.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer is all I'm going to say.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. No, I made that up. I lie a lot. I'm sorry.
That's funny, though.
Saeed, by the way, has said, finally an intelligent person on the stream, meaning you. So we thank Saeed for that backhanded compliment for the stream. Really appreciate that, Saeed. You're so funny.
Oh my God! So he was giving me all these lowdowns of ways that I meant to torment you on this stream, and that was really great. Like he came out with like.
He's such a good guy, isn't he?
I adore him. I absolutely adore him because like he came out and he was like, use words that have BD in them.
He won't let it go. He won't let it go.
No,
he caught me in a vulnerable moment, and I'll never live it down.
Remind me of what happened at that. Weren't you reading the book? Weren't you reading
Yes.
Sinwar's book?
Yes. Let's relive the moment. Let's rehash it all out again for sure. My
Hey,
failure.
You know what? I am a Mara Fat. I'm a Mara Dumb, and like we have to.
No.
We Americans, we is dumb.
We is dumb. No, I do feel that. Yeah, we are. I have to constantly preface that when I'm reading, for instance, Sinwar's book. It's like I'm very much learning. I'm mispronouncing words left and right. But yeah, it was al-Abd, I think, is the name of the mother of one of the characters in that book. And I said Abed because I was like, well, there can't be a B and a D stuck together. There has to be a vowel, but surely I'll just add one and no one will notice. But to my chagrin, Saeed noticed. And here we are. We're still talking about it. Yeah, blame his BDHD. He's still cracking jokes. He's still cracking jokes. Can you see the chat that's happening? Because if you can't, we need to figure... maybe next time we'll do like a StreamYard. There's a different... there's all these different little apps that you can use. But I think with StreamYard, you can actually see the chat. And so you can interact. Because unless you have the stream pulled up, you're not going to be able to see what they're saying. But yeah, let's...
I didn't want to pull the stream up just because I didn't want my computer to get overheated.
Totally. And I have that problem with my computer, so I completely understand. So anyway, what else? What else is on your mind? What else can we talk about? Anything else you had?
Oh my God.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So much. No, I think that we need to start educating people.
Oh, right. Yes.
Most important thing to start because revolution is a long process.
Right.
It's not short. It doesn't because shock capitalism, for example, what they call shock therapy.
Tell
me
more.
That happens quickly. A revolution is a slow process. Revolution it takes class consciousness, and class consciousness takes a lot of fucking effort.
Right.
Because people, especially when they got imperialist fucking brain rot, it's hurting kids. Although it's hilarious, I love it when these people come into the chat. It's great because it's oh my God, I love, and it's, I don't want to sound like a sadist or anything like that because it's just sometimes it's really, really fun to fucking bash on these people. It's really, because they want they want the ultimate boot.
Yeah,
they love that.
I think and I'm happy that you find so much glee in the torment of these smooth-brained simpletons, but it's true. I mean, they open themselves up for it. It's like you're gonna be loud and arrogant about being wrong, then you're gonna invite that kind of criticism. So I have no shame. I have no pity.
You're just gonna swing that dick, but then But
you don't know how to wield it. You don't know what you're talking about. So shut up.
Yeah, no, and I love it. I love it when they come to cry and they come to cope and they come to piss and moan and fart for a ideology that they will never be a part of.
Right.
Never. It will
Yeah.
be afford. And they're still saying, "Oh, but capitalism." Because one thing about these people that I notice is that a lot of them will always say things like, "Oh, like, capitalism, I don't agree with it, I don't like it, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I'm not going to hear any argument against it."
Yeah.
Like,
And you
I'm
would
going to, like, I'm not going to hear
you just made
anything.
right. You just made me think of another point, and I know there's a little lag, so I'm sorry if it keeps
Yeah,
interrupting
I
the
know.
flow. But I just the fact that they're just what was I gonna say? They're just constantly. They just can't be inconvenienced about it all. I don't know. I had somebody showed me some video, and I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say, but I lost my. What do you got there?
I
You got
had like a
notes?
bunch yeah, like I had a bunch of notes of things that I wanted to say tonight and
Oh yeah,
talk about, but yeah,
cool. I
last
love
week.
that. Let's go through it. Let's go. What you got?
Well, I mean, what I like think is that they with the whole thing about like capitalism wanting to do everything they can to protect it. It's like I've noticed something very interesting is that Hasbara and like the mythology, American patriotism and American mythology, I see a similarity because, for example, there's a I forgot who said this, but I think it was Second Thought who said this, where he goes, um, the one thing is that every country around the world has an idealized version of what they think their country is.
Mm-hmm.
However, all have their own propaganda and all have their own idealism. America is the only one who actually believes it. And and I noticed something like kind of similar with Hasbara is that they will do everything they can, like it's like violently protected.
Mm-hmm.
They're violent about it to and when you criticize it, and it's like it strikes such a nerve. It's just like, no, like Daddy can't be wrong. Daddy can't be wrong. Sky Daddy can't be wrong.
Yeah, I
America
mean,
can't be wrong.
yeah.
Western liberalism can't be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be. It just
I
can't.
think it's because they find their identity in it. They have they're personally staked into it, and they can't separate. Like, because if they don't know, if that's all fake, then who are they? That's a hard thing to grapple with. Especially if you've somehow like bought into the system, and it's tied to your career, it's tied to everything about your success. Then it's harder to because like we know through Marxism, it's like we are defined by how we relate to the productive forces of society, how we relate to capitalism. Who are you in the supply chain? What do you do for the economy? That's your identity. And a lot of people derive their identity and their personal identity to these senses, these ideas of nationalism or capitalism, and that can be hard to disentangle, I guess.
Oh God, absolutely, and especially if it's been like fundamentally ingrained in you, like
Yeah,
beaten into your whole
yeah,
life.
yeah. These
And
are
hell, I mean,
ideologies. It's just
yes, and
weird.
and I always will say that capitalism is a fetish, straight up.
Yeah,
It's a fetish. People love that shit. They love the idea of never, ever, ever being able to have what, or like idolize, turning these people like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, uh, Elon Musk
Mm-hmm.
and Jeff Bezos and all these other fucking people and turning them into like these like, oh, they had so much ingenuity and they had so much drive, and you could be Jeff Bezos if you want to be. No, you can't be Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
Like
that's by design. You can't be Jeff Bezos by design. There can only be only a handful of Jeff Bezoses in the world. That's what capitalism thrives on. Um,
Is
And
on weaponizing identity.
yeah, yeah, and it's just I really do like to make videos on this as well, just exposing the mythology behind these self-made billionaires, and how they actually did what they did, and just all the illegal shit. It's like a lot of it was just illegal stuff that they, should be, but they weren't. There's no oversight, and they benefit. I think the biggest or the most distinctive way I could say it is that like they are looked upon as if they are some outsider sent from above, descended onto society, like Elon Musk, who you just mentioned. But they're like the biggest. He's like supposedly this contrarian. You know what I mean? People think of him as like this outsider, like Donald Trump. He's like a political outsider.
Like storm.
Yeah, exactly. And yet they're like the biggest beneficiaries of the status quo. They're not challenging the status quo. They're benefiting from this all, and I don't know. It's just aggravating.
All advertisers of my company that is failing, go fuck yourself.
That guy's got $5 billion in government subsidies. I mean, if somebody gave you $5 billion, I'm pretty sure you could probably do a lot of things with it, a lot of successful things.
$5 billion, you could probably end world hunger.
Yeah, you could. You really could. It would take a couple billion. And then we saw him dancing. That's right, Saeed. And boy, was that... And jumping. And that was pretty cringe.
Oh my God. And yeah, I mean, how does that guy have like 13 kids? Like, I can't imagine that he fucks for free ever. But like, but that, I mean, I look at him and I'm like, that's my impression. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. I mean, when you got billions of dollars, when you're a billionaire, they let you do it. Just like Donald Trump said.
They let you do it.
You can do anything.
I can't wait for National Grab 'em by the Pussy Day.
Oh my God, is there such a thing? That'll be the mark of the end of the United States officially. Is that day?
I think it's already it's already we're watching. We're watching us roll down the toilet, and part of I watched a very interesting video by Legion Miller, and it was titled college students, college protests are going to save democracy. They have before and they will again. And and she is a little bit liberal coded, and I will I'll listen to that, and I am taken back to like moments in history, like in the civil rights movement, for example. A lot of these people in the civil rights movement were just kids. They were just students, and things that they did, like, for example, they would go into like whites only establishments, and they just sit there, and they would get the shit kicked out of them all the time. And and I look at the pro-Palestine protests today, and it's like, the people who are beating the shit out of these kids, out of these 18-year-old American students, does it matter if it's a Republican administration or a Democratic administration? I don't think they fucking think it matters.
Right.
I certainly don't, And, I became very, one thing about like American elections is that it has, I don't want to say that I'm happy that Donald Trump is president, because trust me, I'm not fucking happy that Donald Trump is president at all. I mean, I think everything he does is fucking hilarious. But
yeah, from a reality TV show standpoint, it's entertainment.
Yes, but it's like, oh God, like, and then, I mean, I laugh, but then I'm like, oh no, this motherfucker wants to be president. He's literally going to be the most powerful person in the world again. And if liberalism, neoliberalism, was an effective system, Donald Trump wouldn't even be a conversation in 2024. He wouldn't even be a conversation. He would be like a protest candidate. He'd probably be one of those people who would get like 4% of the vote from like the most like crazy inbred, like CT loving people, but would never be taken as a serious candidate.
So what does that
And
tell you about your world?
absolutely like that this person was even allowed, that was even like because I mean I remember seeing just both of these people, and both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, or both Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and I'm like, this shit is embarrassing. It's embarrassing, you know? And like, I voted for Joe Biden knowing damn well that he made my life harder. Like, part of what Joe Biden did was I mean, because I don't know if you've ever seen some of his old clips, you know, it's kind of like frightening just how much how much of an imperialist Joe Biden actually is.
Oh, sure,
And
yeah.
some is and like his whole, and I wanted so badly to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really
Mm-hmm.
did.
Yeah.
I tried really, really hard,
Yeah.
and I was one of those people where I was like, gosh, if he really knew what was going on, like surely, but like, oh my God, I remember seeing some of these, clips of him where he's talking about prison reform and
Mm-hmm.
signing, basically signing anti-crime and anti-drug bullshit that really just all it did was fuck over an entire generation of Black Americans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is true white supremacy, when you can fuck
Yep.
over an entire generation of people with a stroke of your pen.
Yeah. That's
That's true.
that's racism right there. That's what we mean when we say systemic racism.
There's a really disgusting quote of him saying, like, "Unleash the dogs of war," after the September 11th or not 11th shit,
Yeah.
and he's one of those main like one of the people who mainly purported that, and
Hmm.
he signed a bill, the anti-crime bill, that basically would say that crack cocaine would be prosecuted, like I think like 10 times as hard as someone found with like powder cocaine. Like, who's more likely to use powder cocaine is white people. Who's more likely to use crack cocaine is
Right.
Black people.
Right.
It
Right.
was so deliberate.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
but
there's,
he's
of course,
he's Uncle Joe though. He's Uncle Joe. He's got candy in his pockets. He eats ice cream. He tells jokes. He's a great guy. I don't know what you're talking about.
no, God, I can't believe this happened. So, as his capacities were starting to slip, and people were starting to, mention things about, Joe Biden's health and stuff, Reuters came out with this crazy propaganda where it said basically like it was talking about how like, and please forgive me, but it's talking about how hard Joe Biden fucks his wife, essentially. And that's the secret to like a good marriage. And I'm like, oh my God, is this real? It literally, like, the headline of this Reuters article was like, "Good sex is the
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah. It was
lasting
yeah.
marriage and this lasting presidency," and I'm like,
That's
there's
exactly
no
what I want to see. Is put that in my mind. Joe Biden at age 80 talking about his sex life. Perfect.
yeah, I know, right? Like, I mean, but just like I couldn't believe that this shit came out. I was like,
Yeah.
really, really, like I couldn't believe like the cope is just so real. And I think that, I'm not in the business of, I try to think about things scientifically. I try to be fair. I'm not in the business of mythologizing anyone. I'm not in the business of, trying to, or demonize anyone if they, don't deserve it, especially. Like, I think that, every single one of our, our, our kings of shit and mountain in this country, every single one of them is a war criminal. But I
Absolutely.
mean, most of them have done some like, uh, you know, good things here and there, because I think that they recognize, that people have material needs no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
Richard Nixon did the EPA, as and that's a terrible, It has its own issues, but like the fact is that or that kind of institution was needed.
And George W.
Desperate.
Bush, didn't bomb every country. There were some countries that he didn't bomb. So we
He
should.
could have bombed the whole world, but he chose not to bomb the whole world.
Sorry
He
for
only
that
killed them.
loud alert sound. Hang on. Let me see if I can't fix that. That's really annoying. I don't know where that comes from. Apparently I got an alert sound that's just really loud, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, Joe Biden, we all saw about how he, if that clip from, I guess, the 70s when he's talking about if Israel wasn't, invented, we'd have to invent Israel. And yeah, he's a staunch Zionist, and you're right, every president is a war criminal. I don't think that there's really, I mean, it's almost like you're institutionally mandated. If you are elected president, you are immediately a war criminal. It just depends on how bad of a war criminal you are. But
God, like, I mean, even in, like, I was talking about this to my dad just a couple days ago. In 2000, I think was it 2002 or 2003, there was that policy that was instituted where basically, like, the ICC was starting to investigate American citizens who did war crimes in Iraq. And America came out with that policy that essentially said that we can basically declare war on Amsterdam and invade The Hague if we had to.
right.
If they started investigating American citizens, it's because we knew that we were going to do fucked up shit over there.
Well, that's what happens when you're the leader of the free world. I mean, you have to take the matter into your own hands. I think
You have to be the big brother.
it's completely justified. I mean, we're standing for freedom and democracy. We're only trying to light the way for humanity.
You from communism.
So if we have to bomb The Hague because we don't like what they did, I mean, we're just trying to promote a free world, okay?
Promote a world and rule-based order, which
That's
is why
the-
we don't follow any of that shit.
Thank you. The rules-based
Any of that
order, okay? Maybe if The Hague started following the rules-based order of the United States, we wouldn't have to bomb them.
It's not the Geneva Conventions, it's the Geneva Suggestions.
I've never heard that one. That was good. Ooh, I'm stealing that.
I don't know where I first heard that. I think I heard it somewhere, but it comes to Diaperland and it comes to Herzlstand. Like, it's the Geneva Suggestions.
That's right.
It's not the Geneva Conventions.
It's literally true, though, because the ICC is, apparently the United States and Israel are not signatories to the ICC and the Rome Statute. So they don't, in other words, they don't recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC, which I find pretty funny. But the ICC, just for those of you that don't know, what's that?
Didn't they invent the ICC,
That's
technically?
I mean, all of these institutions, all of these, global institutions
The Nordstrom Trials.
were forged by the United States. Yeah. It's the same energy of, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's crazy. It blows my mind that it's just like it's this institution that to ensure that another Holocaust would never happen, and they're
Thank you.
all saying, "Hey, I think you're doing a Hitler." Starting to look like a mustachioed man in here, like, and when all of them start saying that, and you are still saying that yes, we have the right to defend ourselves. We have the right to defend ourselves from journalists. We have the right to defend ourselves from chickpeas and children's puzzles, and we have the right to defend ourselves from essentially children in a concentration camp.
Well, I mean,
We have the
you
right
got to
to-
understand, though, Conquer, these little terror toddlers are going to grow up to be actual, real, live terrorists. So I think it's completely justified. It's called a preemptive strike, okay? You can look it up. I mean, these are the rules of war. War is war. And Israel has the
It's
right...
normal.
Mm-hmm. Israel has the
guess,
right to defend itself,
normal. Yeah. Like, I guess this is totally normal. I guess this is a normal thing to do. Like, I guess it's a normal thing to drop 2,000 bombs on a bunch of babies, like a bunch of like a tent city.
So many more tons of bombs than was dropped on like all theaters of war in World War II or something outrageous like that. And certainly more tonnage of bombs than Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I believe, as well, by a
Yeah.
mile. Like both of them put together. So it's like yeah, it's pretty despicable. Obviously, it's awful. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I just always go back to just like I have to ridicule Israel. You know, it's like that's the only way. I can't like. I feel like that's the most effective rhetorical device to use to, get in their heads and show how they're just a bunch of cowards.
There's a bunch of crybaby diaper wearers.
Yeah.
Like, oh, boo hoo, you have to stay in your little armored vehicle, and you have to stay
Really?
inside your little tank, and because you're nice and safe there, and all you have to do is just run over that landmine, and boom.
Yeah.
Or you have that one kid that crawls out of the tunnel, that one Hamas kid, and
Yeah.
he has to do with the busted ass sneakers and no uniform.
Yeah.
He gets a grenade out of his pocket and lobs it in the tank, and all of a sudden it's over.
Oh no! See, now you're talking about T-wordism, and I'm sorry, but that is evil. What you just described, I will not be party to that kind of violence. Okay. Always stand with our brethren in the IDF. Clearly, am Yisrael Chai. I stand with Israel.
And Yisrael chai and my diapers are dry. Says
And-
Daddy from the sky.
And free the sausages.
Free the sausages.
Bring them
Let the
home.
sausages.
Pootie Tang asks, Conquer, how do you think this will end for Israel?
Well, you know what? I think that they are doing the thing where they are trying to run victory laps right now. There is something very interesting that David Pakman said, because every once in a while I check in on this dumbass, and
Yeah.
he was saying that, like, oh, well, like, because he was trying to say to Jake Uyghur that, oh, you know what, you're on the losing side. You were on the losing side. And it's like, well, actually, David, I think you might be on the losing side here, because people, before October 7th happened, people were already leaving Israel.
Were they?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know do you remember there's a video I showed, I sent you the other day. It's a TikTok of this Chinese intellectual who went to
Yes.
he went to the kibbutz,
Yes.
and that line of questioning was so good. Oh my God.
What did you
Yeah,
like
something-
about it? Tell us what you liked about it the most.
Well, I think it's just the basic questions like just made their propaganda fall apart. But also, I mean, at the very end, the lady broke down and admitted, hey, like, we got we got people who, once they start leaving, they don't want to come back. They don't want to come back to the kibbutz because, although, God, that line of questioning is so epic, where it just starts off where it's like, oh, we're communism. We in the kibbutz, we're just like you, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, like,
Let's
how
talk
do you do
about
your
it, yeah.
expenses? Like, why do these people have to, why do these people have to work longer than you? Why do these people not, why do you have to have imported workers to
Right.
come eat your expenses if you're communist? That's not
Right.
communism.
From Thailand, right?
Yes, from Thailand. And, like, they also mentioned that they're importing Yemeni Jewish people too.
I
They're
didn't know.
importing Yemeni Jewish people. They're doing this to Jewish people.
Well, a Yemeni Jew and an Israeli Jew are the same ethnicity, so that's their same. Those are their people. Obviously, Em Yisrael Chai. Saeed says colonization gets a bad rap, and I couldn't agree more. You really have to study the contours and details of colonization to really get it, okay? The benefits.
The Manifest Destiny had its good parts too, because, we wanted those people out. We wanted their shit, and
Yeah.
we didn't want to share it with them, so we had to do something about that. Hey, it's free market, baby.
Yep, that's right. That's what the free market
And
does.
essentially, like, what it is it's a goddamn, well, going back to this question, what it is just an unholy, illegal real estate venture. That's all this is.
Yeah.
This is not about religion.
Yeah.
And the way that I think that this ends for Israel is that I don't think that this is going to go anywhere good for them, for the people of Israel. And, you know, I reckon, like, and these people are people too. And, you know, as much as, like, we recognize that their society, and I recognize that their society is very fascist, it absolutely is. However, you know, there's people there that are also, you know, coming to our cause. And there's
Right.
people there who are essential, like imperative to the Palestinian cause. For example, you know, there's even, you know, for example, Peretz has a lot of, you know, writers that are, you know, pro-Palestinian who, and there's also a lot of writers who are, you know, just Hasbara bots. And the discontent that is brewing in the state of Israel is very, very real. And now something that is incredible, an incredible development has happened where the ICC, for the very first time, has issued an arrest warrant for a Western, or for an American ally. Yeah, a Western country, but especially for an American ally. I mean, because essentially, I mean, Israel is the United States. I mean, they're just us, except they're just more, you know, off leash.
I'm just really happy that I was able to provide for them health care and education. I want to make, yeah.
Right, because, like, you know, and you know, there's that the kibbutz lady was talking about how, oh, you know, we never have issues with getting our expenses done. You know, the government will always give us plenty of money, and I'm like, yeah, I bet they will. It's my money.
That's
I want
your
my
money,
back.
yeah. Well, I just
want
wouldn't be able to
my-
sleep at night if I knew that there was a Israeli out on the street with no health care or education. I would, that'd be devastating for me.
You know, and I can't help but think, though, that one thing about living in a place where you really do believe that, like, there's
I'm listening. I had to tell somebody something for a second. I'm listening. Please go ahead.
are you doing all right? Don't bring him his soda. He's a grown man. He can get it himself.
Oh no, you know what? I forgot. I muted the stream for a second, but I forgot you could still hear me. My bad. I left a LaCroix in the freezer and I didn't want it to freeze. Okay, chat. I'm sorry. All right.
And you made my mom go get it for you.
He's funny.
You're funny, Conker.
What the fuck was I just talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I see. I derailed the whole stream. I'm like a Saeed up in the stream. I'm just derailing everything.
He's the derailer. He's the ultimate derailer.
He's the ultimate derailer. Well, let's see what he said. Well, seeing the images of those ICC villains and what part of the world they come from, Bibi should feel happy. He finally belongs there. That's true. Wait, yeah.
You know, it would be really great if he took a little vacation somewhere. You know, wouldn't that be nice? You know, because, you know, all this pressure is getting to him. Why doesn't he take a little vacation?
Jesus Christ, why is that so loud? Y'all, can y'all just stop doing the sound alerts? Because it's just like, it's extremely loud and I don't know how to stop it. But you're right. I mean, he should take a vacation. Why not he just go to like Italy or somewhere, you know, and just...
Spain?
Was that where you're going? Did I steal your joke?
What?
I said, did I steal your joke? Is that where your joke was headed?
Oh no, I
Oh.
think I was just being like, you know, he should go to. I don't think he'll ever set foot in any country that's recognized as Palestinian statehood. Period.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah, sure. Well, I
And
say...
one thing Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I said Italy because I know that they're like, well, we'll arrest him if he steps foot. There's like a lot of countries that are like saying yes, we will arrest him if he goes here. But
Italian brethren, thank you.
yeah,
Uh, you know, and it's funny because, and like, I understand why people have certain attitudes about religion. I totally get it. But one thing that was amazing to me that happened back in December of last year, the Pope, this Pope of these child diddling Catholic Church, came out and said that this was a genocide.
yeah.
He said that back in December of last year.
Oh, really? Was it
And
December? I know he's been in the news recently for saying similar
yep,
things.
again, because it was back in December he said it for the first time, and like the PR team for the Vatican were like, no, 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 he didn't
Yeah,
actually
had
say
to
that.
walk it back.
He misspoke.
Yeah,
He and
ridiculous.
he came out with a 60-minute interview, and he said, and basically like, I mean, I think that he is the most base pope that we've ever had, in that like he's actually tried to do something about like the child molestation, and he's made it a point to be open and try to change with the times, which I appreciate that. And he comes out and he goes, I call the parish in Gaza every day at 7 o'clock. They got about 200 people hiding there, and I call them every day.
The Pope?
Yes, the Pope.
Wow,
Yeah, and then
I didn't know
I
that.
watched the whole 60 Minutes interview, and he's like, Giuseppe Biden,
Uh,
you must stop the murder of the babies. Our Lord Jesus, he don't like the baby murder.
that's a pretty good Pope
But like,
impersonation.
but it's kind of, I mean, well, because one thing is that a lot of people, a lot of people don't give a shit about the Pope, but you know who does is Joe Biden, is Giuseppe Biden.
Giuseppe.
Like, Giuseppe Biden. Stop it. I speak to our Lord Jesus. He say you not get into heaven.
I mean,
You
I
must
wonder.
be
I
not
wonder
worthy.
how. I wonder how Joe Biden must feel, knowing that the Pope stands in
Because he's a
disagreement.
staunch Catholic.
Yeah.
Like, he's a huge, big time Catholic. And the Pope knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to come out and deliberately say, not just once, but quite a few fucking times, that yes, this is a genocide.
Well, it sounds to me like the Pope's gone rogue and he's being
Pope is
anti-Semitic.
Hamas. Yeah, he's a anti-Semitic.
He's an
He's
anti-Semite.
anti-Semitic. Like Hamas is in the Vatican now. I
Yeah.
guess.
Basically, Pope Hamas. The Pope is Hamas.
The Pope is Hamas. They'll be added to the long list of all the people, including Joe Biden for that matter,
Yeah.
who've been accused of being Hamas.
Yeah.
Like Zeteo came out with an article of it's like a list of people, alphabetic order, of who've been accused of being Hamas since Octagon the 7th.
And
And it's like goes from like alphabetical order, and like Joe Biden is on there, like fucking the guy who's literally doing the thing. For them.
yeah, right. That's just so
And
wild to me that like Israel like hates Joe Biden. Like the fact that like anybody in Israel would be like critical of Joe Biden is hilarious to me
like
for obvious
literally
reasons.
done everything they've asked him for
Right.
against his own his own best interests.
Yeah.
Like he literally tanked his campaign for them,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
it's still not enough. And it's because, like, really, at the end of the day, who they want is someone like Donald Trump.
Phil Zor
But
says, pathetic mods, whitewashing Saeed's misdemeanors. We need to get the big money out of Wrath streams.
no, I mean, we can't have, Saeed Pack is the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, that's right. Saeed Pack is the lesser of two. Thank you, Conquer. By the way, Conquer, how are you so good with all the links? Like, you are always ready to, like, I feel like me and you, we kind of like a partner on the stream. It's like you set them up, I knock them down, or I knock them down, or you knock them down, I set them up, whatever. It's just like it's a 1-2 punch. Do you always have, links that you're just ready to go, or are you just constantly on YouTube and taking in content?
Interest into educating people and
Yeah.
educating myself as well. And so a lot of the videos I've sent you are things that like I myself have watched beforehand, and also because like I don't want to do anything to like get the stream in trouble.
Right,
Because like
right.
I try to learn everything ahead of time and make sure that there's nothing like too horrendously violent that could get us like
Yeah.
really fucked.
Yeah.
And and the thing is that since this has happened, I mean, I realized that I'm a sensitive person.
Mm-hmm.
I realized in the past year how much of a sensitive person I am, watching this shit.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling helplessness at one point in time, watching this and being like, "There's nothing I can do about it."
Yeah.
But I can actually do something about it. I'm an American citizen. I have a voice. I vote, reluctantly.
Yeah.
And I have come to the realization that this must stop at all. This has. I mean, and not only is their liberation tied to the liberation of the Middle East, it's also tied to the liberation of America as well.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that Palestine is an American problem.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sheila Tlaib came out with an article in the Arizona Palestinian Alliance about how essentially Palestine is a thing that matters to every American citizen.
I think you hear this sentiment like you free Palestine, then you free the world, or if you don't free Palestine, then you can't free the world, and it's sort of people can say but it's actually very true. I mean, and I think of this like sort of from a Marxist perspective as being the principal contradiction. This is the front lines of imperialism, and if we can't solve that, then those same tactics are going to come home to us eventually, and
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. And this is something that I really, I think about quite a lot actually, because like, I kind of feel like, and I mean, God forbid, but I kind of do feel like we're asking for like another like 9/11 or Pearl Harbor with the kind of behavior that we're exhibiting to the rest of the world, because
Oh, definitely.
we can no longer say that we are the harbors of international law. We can't say that anymore, obviously.
No.
Like during the during the last UN summit, I think someone from Russia brought this up too. It's like you're not even following your own laws.
Yeah.
Like they're not even following their own
And
ability to. I mean, it's like, why should anyone trust you? Why should anyone take you seriously?
yeah,
Why should anyone?
that ship has
try
sailed.
to-
I mean, I think you're speaking to at a certain point after World War II. There was a as I've learned through books that I've read. There was a strong anti-imperialist sentiment among all the countries of the world that were oppressed, because that World War II was largely seen as an imperialist war, and once that was the Nazis were defeated and the Empire of Japan was defeated, there was a very big sentiment of the poorer global South reclaiming their land, resources, and labor, and they saw the United States as sort of they were on the fence about it. Like maybe let's see what the United States does. Maybe they're gonna be what they say that they're gonna be about. And as it went on, it's like, oh no, You know, that all that, like, there was a time when people might have believed it, you know, but there's a time when we could have worked with Russia or Iran or China, but that ship is set. There's no
Why can't we
trust.
just these people?
What's that?
Yeah. And why should there be?
And why should there be?
Why should
Exactly.
there be?
Yeah. So we have eroded. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there is absolutely, and which is why, like, when I look at people in the Biden administration who's still in the Biden administration to this day, I don't have any sympathy for some of these people who are still in the Biden administration. Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of respect for those people who have, done their best and who try to change things, but, the people who walked away, they did the right thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of them that defected, that resigned.
Including an actual Palestinian. Like
Oh,
a
yeah?
person who had Palestinian descent, yeah.
Was he in the State Department or something?
I forgot where he was in, but he was
Oh.
actually, he was a part of the administration.
Yeah.
And he was like, can't be a part of this shit anymore.
Yeah.
People who are like, who have kids, and who are like, I can't be a part of this shit anymore. And something that I've said, and I'll say this again, and I'll say this with my whole fucking chest. If all the atrocity porn that came out on October 7th, about October 7th, if all of that shit turned out to be real, they still would not have a right to do what they're doing.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. It would actually be their fault still. All of the.
Yeah, it would still be their fault, especially
Yeah.
it would absolutely still be their fault. They
And that's-
ignored.
That's quoting international law. My cat is running around the apartment. He's not obeying the speed limit, mind you. And that's illegal. We're going to have to put him in a little kitty jail. But Dr. McRib asks, I think this is a good question. I wonder if compassion is like a muscle that atrophies without use. Would you agree, Conker?
Yes.
I would too.
Yes. Because, the aspect of, doing this thing that they're doing to another person, like, when we watch these videos of things that they do to these people, the things that they willingly broadcast, I think a lot about, since I've been watching this live stream genocide, I've been thinking a lot about, there's a film that's based on a comic book, and I don't recommend this film to anyone who's not already into extreme horror films, but it's called The Sadness. And it's a different kind of take, and it's about essentially a virus that it's a different take on a zombie film. It's from Thailand, and what it's about is that it's like a different take where it's a virus that basically eliminates people's sense of empathy. So people become violent, homicidal maniacs.
So it's an
It's
allegory
not-
for capitalism.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the guy who wrote the comic book that the film is based on writes a lot about, that writes a lot of stuff that is very much an allegory for capitalism. And but another thing that I want to point out too is that, such a thing, and it's a crazy, crazy film, but such a thing is not, it's not real in real life. When we see pictures from like, the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, the Nazis didn't start off putting people in concentration camps.
Right.
It didn't start off that way.
No.
It was a process
Right.
of dehumanization.
Yeah.
That it was a process of getting a taste for sadism, a taste
Yeah.
for violence.
Yeah.
That led
By
to
degree.
Yes. And I think that it's like, they're willingly broadcasting this shit.
Yeah. I think with the Nazis, they go back to like the Enabling Act of 1933, shortly after Hitler became chancellor, and then they started legislating all these new laws that were basically apartheid laws. They already were starting to create a segregated society and forcing Jews to withdraw or, flee. And if they didn't, they'd be rounded up eventually. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't until 1942, the Wannsee Conference, the famous Wannsee Conference, where they acknowledged that they were going to go ahead with the final solution. You know, but it was you're absolutely correct. It was by degree, and they had to, like, you know, make a little progress here, make a little progress there, and then sooner or later you're, you know, doing a genocide, as you do.
Because I mean, you don't start off that way. You have
No.
to, you have to prime the public to accept such a thing is necessary.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen? I don't know if you ever seen Zone of Interest.
No, I haven't. What is that?
I recommend it.
It's a movie?
It's made by a guy who is actually a descendant of Holocaust survivors, and it's a film that is made entirely in almost entirely in the perspective of the Nazis, and it's about it's based on a real person, and it's about a German officer who runs the Auschwitz camp, and he has a house, a luxury house, just right next door to the camp. It's literally right next door.
Sounds a lot like a certain ethno state I know of.
Yes, exactly, and it's based on a real story too, and it's just an incredible allegory. And you never see the Jewish people in the story, but in the movie, you never actually see them, but you can hear them because, like, in the film, you'll hear, like, the kids will be playing inside the house, and then you start hearing, like, yelling and gunshots and shit like that. And and then there's a part where they start, like, finding, like, bones inside the river where the children are playing, and they start having issues with their breathing where they start choking on the ashes in the air. And that film is a very apt metaphor for Israeli society.
For sure.
um,
Could see that.
it's because, I mean, like, they are, and I used to think I used to, before I found out about all about the apartheid and what Palestine was. Before I should rephrase that. Before I found out about the whole situation in its entirety, I used to think of them being like, oh, the shy little Palestinians, like, they're never featured anywhere. Like, why are they so shy, these Palestinian people? But it turns out that this is by design.
Sure.
That you're not even allowed to say the word Palestine in a lot of circumstances. And there are people who are living in Israel who are Palestinian. They call them Arabs. They don't call them, like, real Palestinians.
Yeah.
And I think that I wanted to share a moment. Speaking of things that led up to being the way that I am today. I grew up obviously in post 9/11 America, and I'm a child of the 90s, and I was very fortunate to meet some very beautiful Muslim people. And and when I was in high school, I ended up doing a report on Islamic feminism and different, like, movements in the Muslim world about that were feminist based. And I ended up meeting people that ended up being, like, these really beautiful people, and I ended up learning more and more about Islam. And something that I usually tell people is that the Prophet Muhammad would not be in any way, shape, or form considered a feminist by today's standards, but he is considered the liberator of women, because in the time of Muhammad, there there was a female infanticide was very common. Like, females were absolutely seen as lesser than.
Yeah.
And the Prophet Muhammad says many times in the Quran that men and women are equal under God. And that is why he's considered the liberator of women. He also the Quran advocates for educating women too. Women can also get divorced. They in the Quran, they also can refuse marriage proposals. And so learning about these things and kind of re-examining this American perspective that we have of Islam was kind of very important for me. And then I had a moment in 2010 where I worked with a group of people, and I worked with these two twins at a coffee shop, and they were Syrian refugees, and they fled their home during the time when the Diaper Land were occupying the Golan Heights, and
Okay.
basically they were kicked out of their home. They were forced to live in a tent, and they were able to immigrate to America through crazy and extraordinary means. And we have an event where we're going to pick up more supplies, and we passed by this event that's like a pro-Israel event. It's like a world event at our local university, and Israel, they had all these banners and all these like people surrounding the event, and they had music playing, and it was really all these beautiful banners. It was like this huge thing, and then they had a Palestinian table. It was a fold-up out table with only two people sitting at the fold-out table on the opposite side of the room, or opposite side of the area, because this is a public area, and it was just they had one tiny little flag, and it was just like, and I remember seeing this, and this is before I knew anything about these two countries or these areas, and it's like there's never I can't think of a more apt metaphor
Yeah.
or a more apt representation of what
Yeah.
things are like in these two countries. And one of the twins was with us, the Syrian refugee twin, and she had a moment where she goes real quiet, and then like she has a moment where she absolutely positively becomes a one woman mosh pit. She goes ballistic. She starts yelling, she starts screaming, she goes to she starts flipping over tables and shit, like screaming like boo boo, like it was crazy. I've never seen anything like this before.
Nice.
And like and chaos ensues, and people are like, are you Palestinian? She's like, no, I'm Syrian. Like, you people took my home away.
Yeah.
We had to live in a fucking tent.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, boo boo. And she was like, just yelling, ripping things up. I mean, completely causing like she turned into like a Tasmanian, like a little Looney Tunes Tasmanian devil. Like on that shit, and like and I looked over and I thought like the Palestinian kids might like go help her or something, and they sat there and they're like Beavis and Butthead, just like giggling, like like just like chuckling to themselves. They were just laughing.
Well, clearly that Syrian refugee that was your friend was being anti-Semitic. Did the authorities come and arrest her? Because that is just uncalled for.
Well, actually, yes. Security did come and
Good.
escort us away from the premises.
Oh, great.
And
Okay.
yes, don't worry, because the diaper people were saved. Their
Thank
feelings
God.
weren't hurt.
Thank God. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the story has a good ending. Okay, just making sure.
But afterwards she started, and first, and I thought that like, this is before I knew anything, and at first like, because she was saying boo Jays,
Oh. Yeah.
yeah,
The J word.
and afterwards I remember being like, I kind of had mixed feelings about it, because I was like, on one hand, like I was like, God, I don't agree with that sentiment, but also I was like, I can understand why someone who has never, the only Jewish people they've ever been around their entire life, has wanted to like exterminate them.
Thank you.
In fact,
You took the
and-
words right out of my mouth.
And
I always say, God forbid the Israeli propaganda system that wanted to equate Zionism with Judaism. God forbid that worked. They spent so much money trying to put that in our heads. Oh my God. You can't blame. I don't think you can blame the resistance, the opposition, for having quote unquote anti-Semitic feelings of hatred for people that identify as Jews and are carrying out a pogrom or carrying out an ethnic cleansing campaign in the name of Judaism. What do you expect from these people? It's the only, just like you said, it's the only people that the only Jews they've ever known, have wanted to kill them. So
it's so, it really makes me sad because like the Jewish people in America and the Jewish people around the world, they're going to have to carry this. Like, they will.
Yeah.
And
Saeed has a suggestion for a very short list, and the list would be things that are not anti-Semitic. That's there might be no list. That might be might be everything. I think is anti-Semitic at this point.
But in all seriousness, all jokes aside, I think that like it's still important to distinguish and say, as much as we possibly can, like, fuck it, I'll just say it. Zionism is not Judaism.
Absolutely.
Zionism is not Judaism.
Absolutely.
It is, and
I try to make that I try to make that point so clear in all my videos as well, and
And it's not, it's not falling on deaf ears. I want you to know that, because it's still important to make that distinction. And of course, there's going to be like Hasbara bots who are still going to say, like, oh, like no matter what, like, oh, this guy is he hates Jewish people. He hates Jewish people. He wants Nazi shit or whatever. And there's still going to be people who will always say that. However, the people who are out there who can be presented with evidence, they are out there and they can
they're impressionable, and you gotta have the right messaging for that.
Yes, and which is why I think it's also important that, like, I don't want to, like, I think everyone, trying to welcome everyone is important, which is why I think that, like, when I try to mod people, I try to give everybody the benefit of a doubt, And I'm not intentionally cruel. I don't punch down until someone's intentionally cruel first,
Yeah, true. It's a good... No, you handle it very well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Because I mean, sometimes, like, I think that there's, and it's hard sometimes because, like, you can't, so when the chat is scrolling, you can't really see what's going on. So sometimes I've, like, yelled at people who don't deserve it.
It happens, you know.
You
yell at people that don't deserve it? I can't identify with that. I always... my vitriol and my critique is always well-founded. By the way, we have Uncle Haas in this chat on Twitter. I don't know if you all saw. I'm trying to get Uncle Haas on the stream one time, too.
Uncle Haas is here in the stream right now?
Yeah, Uncle Haas, yeah. I found him on Twitter. You know him as well?
Wait, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about like Hamasabi.
Oh, no. Hamasabi, no.
That's who I thought you were talking about.
No, but Uncle Haas is extremely based, and we thank you for being here, and hopefully... God, that thing is so loud. Jesus. It's 5:11 in London town. Uncle Haas is in London. This is a Big Dog stream. Yes, what's up? We got Buddy Head in the chat, too. Buddy Head, by the way, is going to be here tomorrow in this...
Oh, right.
Yeah, I should probably clear that with the authorities, but yeah, we have a I'm going to try to get more people on the stream is what so you Conquer are the first of many is what I'm thinking, but I want to get Uncle Haas and Buddy Head as well. Buddy Head's is working on a movie. So if you guys are around tomorrow, we'll be talking about that. But anyway, that was just a little housekeeping for the stream, if you will. And Comrade Batty's up in the chatty. Holy shit, we got a party now. It's a full-time party, and I just dropped my phone. And
for a song?
And I'm excited. What's that?
Is this call for a song?
It calls for a song. That's right. Are you going to sing for us?
I will not sing for
you. Dang.
You're gonna sing for, you're the music teacher.
I'm not. No, I'm just a content streamer now. I just stream things.
Do you still make music, by the way?
What's that?
Which I very much enjoy your music, actually.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
Well, Buddy Head and I released a lot of music back in the day. I actually released one of my records. That sounds so pretentious. One of my collections of songs was released on Buddy Head Records, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we collaborate. You know, now that I'm in Los Angeles, I hope to collaborate more with him as well. Um, so stay tuned for all that. But yeah, he's working on a movie. We're gonna have him on the stream most likely tomorrow. And Uncle Hawes, you're so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate all your nice comments, and it's been cool connecting with people. Obviously, just like you, Conquer, and just meeting all these all these based people that are online, and like I don't ever see in real life. You know, it's like there's a whole community. Sorry about that. There's a whole community online, and it's fun. It's fun. It's fun, just like finding our people. You know, finding a community of our own. So,
Well, I mean, it helps us get organized too. Like,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely. And you know, getting back to your point very early on in our discussion was, you know, education. You were stressing that point of like we need to educate people, and it's so true. You're like, you know, revolutions take a long time, and you know, it's a steamrolling effect where you have a lot of you need people educated first. You know, you need an educated working class first before you can tip the scales into actual organized action. And I think you know, that's where we find ourselves in this moment. Is just we need more people walking around understanding the class war that they're living through.
absolutely. And I think that like part of, you know, doing this and, you know, I think that part of the big problem is that leftists get in our own way all the time. And that I think that this isn't very important. I think the use of the internet can be either a great thing or a terrible thing.
Yeah. No, certainly. I was just saying goodbye to Uncle Haas. He said he's heading off because it's 5 in the morning in London. So
Thank you
yeah,
for joining us.
with an army of cats to help out, huh, Jaj? Jaj? The revolution starts here. Yeah, it can be, you know, it's got obviously the yin and the yang conquer. There's like, I mean, I feel like I want to stay with the, you know, positive aspects of organizing online. You know, there's like a lot of good, obviously. And we have access to all of this wonderful technology that we've obviously innovated ourselves with our public money, our tax money, so it should be ours. But, you know, it's sort of like we you know, we're not going back to feudalism because we might be serfs, but we're not real serfs because we're educated. We know how to work the capitalist means of production. We know how to take this shit down. You know, we know how to dismantle this stuff if we only recognized our power. And so, you know, I want to use the internet. I want to use software, hardware, technology to organize against the way things are in our economy. So that's what we got to do.
That's a great aspect of the internet, in that, you know, we can connect with people who are literally all over the world.
Yeah.
Like that's excellent. And like I think that, like, you know, you were saying something a few days ago where you were articulating the point that like if TikTok goes, it doesn't really fucking matter. If Twitch goes, it doesn't really fucking matter. We'll
Yeah.
just, you know, move on to the next thing.
Yeah. There's always going to be the
What-
resistance. There's always going to be that tug of war between capital and labor, and if they try to shut one thing down, we'll come up with something else, you know, I feel like. But, you know, and it's all losing power. You know, it's in decay, and I feel like
I
I've
think the American empire is going down the drain straight up,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like,
going to take some time, obviously, but there's no stopping it at this point, I think.
and you know, oh God, I think so too. And I mean, part of like, you know, there's a quote that comes to mind about that MLK said, where he goes, "If our country, if the soul of our country is forever poisoned, let the autopsy read Vietnam."
Let the
And
autopsy read Vietnam. That's what killed it?
yes,
Wow.
or what part or part of the reason
Yeah.
why our soul is poisoned is Vietnam.
And I
Yeah,
feel like
and
somebody said this, and I forget who, some video I watched, and they sort of drew the analogy between Israel being our age of, you know, Vietnam. Like it was what Vietnam was in the 60s. Now we have Israel and Palestine in the 2020s, and it's a defining moment, you know.
There was
So
this liberal biker that I would sometimes listen to, like back when I was still liberal, and he had a video they put out where he goes, I was in high school during the time of Vietnam, and my teacher, tried to ask him about Vietnam, and he goes, "Oh, next year I'll teach you guys." And he goes, "Oh, no, 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 next year I'll teach you guys." And at his senior year, when he didn't even need to take the class, but he still took the class, he's like, "I'm ready to learn about Vietnam now." And he goes, and his teacher sat him down privately, and he goes, "Listen, I'm gonna level with you. I can't teach you about Vietnam. I will lose my job if I teach you about Vietnam. I literally will lose my job." And it does, and for that perspective, it makes a lot of sense that they want to keep us dumb.
yeah, no,
Purposely.
sure. And just to piggyback on what you're saying here, that's if it wasn't effective what we're doing, you know, if education wasn't effective, then they wouldn't try so hard to suppress it. You know, the same token of the same logic as if socialism didn't work, then why do they need to engineer it to fail? Like, why do they need to go to such lengths to make sure that it fails if it wasn't effective? So I just have to laugh when people think that we're not doing anything by trying to educate people, because it absolutely is important. They are, you know, they being the ruling class are dead set on making sure that you receive the right kind of information and knowledge, and that's crucial.
You gotta broadcast the idea that, oh, you too can be a billionaire. You just have to work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and maybe grow a different skin color if you have to.
That would really help, actually. Actually, you could just
Yeah, you
do
know,
that and then forget all their other stuff that we were talking about.
Yeah, you can be anyone you want in America. You just have to get money first. You just have to get money any way you can. You just have to get it,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that we have been doomed and are doomed to keep making our mistakes over and over and over again. And like one thing that has my re-education has begun, and learning more about what the Cold War actually entailed and what the results were of the Cold War. It's like, Noam Chomsky said this himself. He goes, "It is a fucking miracle." I mean, he didn't say fuck, but
Yeah.
it is a miracle that we did not nuke ourselves into oblivion.
Yeah,
And
there's been a lot of really close calls.
unbelievable. And it's like, thank God that they're so fucking incompetent that they can't, sometimes
It actually,
like,
it
execute.
boiled down to, I think, just while you mentioned that, there was a Russian, what do you call a submarine operator or whatever? What do you call those people that, like, man the submarine? Like, he apparently, like, saved us from World War III. I forgot his name, but he's like a goddamn hero because he didn't he didn't actually go through with the order that he was given or something. And
Thank God.
yeah, because he didn't
We're probably still as that guy.
yeah.
Like,
I forgot his name. Some of you might know who I'm talking about in the chat, but yeah, we've come dangerously close. And now, we're back right at it. I feel like, World War III is imminent. We thought Joe Biden was a lame duck, but no, he's gonna start World War III right before he leaves office. So that's cool.
Joe Brandon.
Joe Brandon,
You
yeah.
know, I couldn't help but notice. I don't know if you noticed this before the election. I mean, it's barely made a fart in the wind, but he came out, and I will absolutely think that he only did this just to hurt Kamala Harris. I think that he is bitter that we took his toy away. I think that he did things to deliberately undermine Kamala Harris, and it's actually, and I'm not even just saying that. I mean, now it's been reported that, like, literally his people were like shivving her in the back, like they're, in public they're praising her, but
Yeah.
they were privately telling reporters that, oh no, there's no way she can't win, and Joe would be the one to do it better. And it's like, cope harder, you fucking loser.
Right.
Cope harder.
Right.
But essentially, like, he came out going back to my point, he came out with right before the election happened, it was like a couple weeks before the election happened, he said, Israel has 30 days to implement humanitarian action into the Gaza Strip. And if they don't do that, we're going to do a weapons embargo. We're going to do a weapons embargo, Jack. Do you think, and it's like, essentially, it's so barbaric because, like, essentially you gave someone 30 days to starve your neighbor.
Right.
And it's like, 30 days from now, I wonder if there's a significant event going 30 days from now. And this was in the middle of October, and so it would be after the election that this happened. So essentially, and of course, the diaper farts didn't acknowledge this at all. In fact, one of the things that they did after Joe Biden announced this is that they basically put out a hit list on a group of journalists saying that, oh, these journalists have been identified as like terrorist sympathizers, or they're secret Hamasketeers, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Publishing a public hit list of journalists. And, I remember seeing that and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And not only did they do that, they also started killing a fuck of a lot more people. They upped the game. They deliberately upped the game after Joe Brandon announced that.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's see, what's the date today? 30 days has passed. Like, more than 30 days has passed since
way
that
more,
situation. Yeah. Do you think Joe Brandon had any intention of following through on this, pledge of embargo? Because it's like, one, I knew that there's no fucking way he's going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And certainly
it was so out in the open. It was so blatant what was, of course they say, within 5 seconds of reading that headline, I'm like, oh, because of the election. They're playing politics with children's lives,
Yes.
It was absolutely disgusting.
And of course, I'm sure you've heard, that, BB Bitch Tits might get his ass arrested, which that's a beautiful thing. It's for what it is. That's a nice thing because, that's kind of huge. And the fact that, this is the first time that the International Criminal Court has ever implemented that. And, the UN, the International Criminal Court, has essentially, and the ICJ, have often been used in the past as methods of enforcing American imperialism and Western imperialism. And, going after, Arabs, Afros, Putins, anyone who doesn't align. And of course, it's not to say that the people who they prosecuted did not have serious crimes at their back, because they did. But it's, it's hypocritical still, in the same way that, we are the biggest violators of international law. That is abundantly clear.
Yep.
And if it wasn't abundantly clear, it would be abundantly clear by the fact that we implemented a policy saying that we would declare war on Amsterdam if they ever investigated one of us. It's unbelievable. I think that, people try to equivalate, us, people who are on the left as being idealists. But I think people who are neoliberal tards, those people are the idealists.
Yeah.
I feel like we're practical. And that we, first of all, for example, healthcare would be way more affordable and way better for everybody if it wasn't privatized.
Right.
And a lot of these progressive policies are for the betterment of everyone and not just for the few.
You're right. You're bringing up a good point. Liberals like to think that, leftists are such idealists. Well, liberals are idealists for thinking that capitalism can serve the people. Perhaps the most idealistic idea in all of political economy, as well as the most dangerous one, is thinking that capitalism can be reformed to suit the interests of the majority of people.
That you think that you can compromise with fascism.
Right. That's pretty idealistic, don't you think?
Yeah, like it's bullshit. Like I mean, they're pandering to, thinking that they can compromise with with the thing that has no intention of giving up power. There's that very famous quote where it's like, power does not conceive anything without um, without a reason, without some kind of leverage.
Right.
And there was something I was going to read out loud.
Please.
Hold on. But oh yeah, yeah. What I was going to say is that part of what is the issue is that capitalism is at odds with a democratic system. Period. Like it is completely antithetical almost to a democratic system, because if you are, investing in private interests, you can basically. Um, Sorry, hold on one second. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I mean, you've already said a lot for the fact that, I could say essentially it's the fact that the economy is fascist. A capitalist economy is organized fascistically, so it's pretty idealistic to think that a political democracy could evolve out of a fascist economy.
And because, like, the private interests, it destroys the prospect of a better world, because it's not in,
Right.
Someone's, financial interest to
Right.
want to make things better for people, because, things are better for the capitalist when you're poor. When there's
Yes.
widespread poverty, it's
Right.
better for the capitalist because the capitalist has more leverage. The capitalist has more leverage to control you.
Yeah.
Because, like, you work in these shitty conditions, or I'm going to give give the job to someone else who can work in these shitty conditions. And you can't, God, can't wait for the fucking mass deportation shit that's going to happen, because I mean, people are like, no, he's not going to do it, he doesn't mean it. And it's like, he's just a little kid, he doesn't know what he's saying. Why
I mean,
is it that
they said that in 2016. Oh, he'll
he's a little kid, he doesn't know what he's saying, he's just a boy.
yeah, he'll sober up once he takes office, and then shit'll get real. No,
Or-
I know. What do you think about the next 4 years with Donald Chunk as our president again? I mean, I feel like we're headed for dark times.
Oh God, well, and that's the thing that I think has made this even more like urgent, essentially, is because I believe, or at least, I mean, again, this is my personal belief, but I think that, the socialist revolution is inevitable unless capitalism kills us all first.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that that possibility is, it's certainly a possibility, that this could potentially happen. And there's a person that came in to the chat the other day. It was some bootlicker, and they were, of course, getting upset because we were criticizing capitalism. And they were, at the end of the conversation, right before someone finally kicked them out, they were like, eventually what's going to happen is that they're going to make a weapon that's going to destroy all this, and that's that. And it's like, I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to accept that eventuality.
Yeah.
I think that there is, and certainly that can happen. And that's probably the only thing that this person said that I probably agreed with, is that, yeah, I think that, I mean, personally, I don't think anyone should have nuclear weapons, period. But I think that, essentially what's going to happen is that we're going to get pushed further and further to oblivion unless there is a mass consciousness that awakens in people. And I think that I am in the interest, myself, I'm in the interest of winning. I'm in the interest of living. I'm in the interest of freeing Palestine and, implementing and implementing socialist policies under any circumstances, because I think the prospect of a revolution is very overwhelming, but I think that the alternative is much worse.
Certainly.
You know?
Socialism or barbarism, communism or extinction.
Basically, yeah, it's communism or extinction, really, because like we have to do this, or basically, like, I mean, it's going to happen eventually that one of these dumbasses is going to, and part of like, I really completely got so pissed off when I would hear like this bullshit about like Donald Trump being like this peaceful dove and shit, and it would drive me crazy because like, you know, like fucking Donald Trump absolutely destroyed the Iran nuclear deal. He destroyed it. It was a thing that was that took years for multiple world leaders to develop. It was a thing that made the world safer, and he fucking he destroyed it. He chunked it, and he also destroyed someone, one of the Iranian generals, which if that was in reverse, that would be a declaration of war.
Absolutely.
America.
1000%.
And it kind of is amazing to me, like how restrained. And I mean, again, like I have my own criticisms of their government, but some of their domestic policies I think are total ass cheeks. But some of the foreign policies of Iran are admirable because they've been quite restrained, I think, in the way that they handle international conflicts.
Yeah, like a fucking adult.
Yes, and I loved. I have to say, it really just tickles me when I watch Mr. Piers Morgan, Mr. Piers Cow Eyes Morgan, uncensored, and he, because I think a part of the appeal of the show is that he invites pro-Palestine people on, and we can watch him like get his ass kicked on TV.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a really great thing for the pro-Palestinian cause by making himself and his handlers look so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, they let us dog walk him like every week on stage.
Exactly.
And and I appreciate Piers Morgan for doing that for us. Like, thank you for just subjecting yourself to humiliation and spankings every week for our amusement. Thank you, Piers Morgan. Although one thing that I will say about some of the people he has on the show is that I think that it's, when it comes to like aligning with certain people, I will absolutely admit that there are a group of people out there who want to free Palestine because they hate Jewish people. And I do not want to align myself with those people. I don't think it's a good idea to align align with those people.
Certainly not.
And I mean, there's a thing that Hassan says all the time where he goes, if you are sitting with a Nazi in a room and you're talking to him, there are two Nazis.
Two Nazis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, anytime like I get like I'll see sometimes we'll get like little like Nick Fuentes people who will sometimes come into the chat, and I have decided that I'm no longer taking mercy upon them. Like, I think that I need to send them back to incel hell.
Yeah, give them the chop. Give them the choppy chop.
Yeah, and I believe in educating people and making a point to say that yes, absolutely, this is not about Judaism, but I can understand, again, like we said before, why people would make that correlation. And there's someone in the chat who came out and he said, gosh, he said something. I'm not going to call this person out by name, but he was basically saying that people gave Kanye so much shit, but I guess Kanye was right. And I was like, no. No, Kanye is not right. He is not right about anything, for that matter. He's certainly not right about Jewish people. And there was Dan Bilzerian was making the rounds after Piers Morgan had him, and there were some people who were like, wow, he showed him, he told him the truth. And it's like, he said a bunch of really anti-Semitic shit, though, legitimately anti-Semitic shit.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know, but
I wouldn't recommend it. It's stupid because, saying some truth in a sea of hate speech is not
right.
does not help the Palestinian people,
Yeah.
you know, and it certainly does not help the cause.
Right. Well, you know,
And,
this stream is a ban heavy, block heavy stream. So don't ever feel like you can't do that, because we'll put them on the chopping block real quick, okay? We crack the whip around here. We give them the wall.
yeah, take them to the wall.
Unless they gift 50 subs, you know, then I guess we'll let them hang out. We can be bought, let's be honest.
Yes, you know, listen, if you don't give that money, like, the shit goes dark, and there'll be no revolution, and you'll be stuck with Donald Trump.
If you don't give, it goes dark. That's right. I couldn't put it better myself.
Like, you want us to save us, if you want to be saved from Donald Trump, please, by all means, give us money.
Give us your money.
Give
How
us
else?
your money.
Exactly, Saeed, you hit it right on the head. Saeed says, how else can I tolerate the likes of Saeed? I gotta agree with you there. Okay, it's because of all those gifted subs. That's the only reason we put up with you.
And the dad jokes, the edgy
Yeah.
dad jokes.
And the really bad dad jokes that,
dad jokes.
yeah, those are pretty fun too, I have to say. Well,
I really like the group of people that we have, you know, brought in, like, and it reminds me a little bit of Freddie Hampton. He said that, you know, part of what we do is, you know, we don't push people away because we love the people
right.
and we're for the people, and all power to all people.
Yeah, we are, you know, why would we be wanting to be at odds with the public? We are the public.
Yes, absolutely. Which is why, like, it was also, like, kind of insane to me to see, like, the Democratic Party, like, deliberately pushing people away during the election, because it's like, and literally, I mean, she was you know, like, when you're running like you are and expect to win, like you're entitled to win, that turns people off.
Oh,
already.
yeah. She was speaking.
Number one. Oh God, and then I'll never forget that shit. I will never forget that shit. You know, her saying to, because first of all, like, you're not entitled to votes, lady. You are a fucking public servant.
Mm-hmm.
You are meant to earn our votes.
Yep.
You're meant to earn our votes. We are your boss. You work for us. And so for you to tell us, the American people, who your future depends on, supposedly, that you say, you know what, shut the fuck up. I don't want your vote. I don't need your vote. Fuck your vote. Like, we can do this without you. They said that more than once.
Yeah, the vibes were, shut the fuck up or I will sick Donald Trump on you. Is that what you want?
Like, and I knew it, that fucking, you know, when liberals would do that shit, I knew that they didn't think that we were really Donald Trump supporter or Trump voters, because you know why?
Why?
You know why? They'd be hoarding our fucking vote if they thought we were actual Republicans, just like they did during the election.
They would be what, our vote?
They would be courting our vote. They
Oh,
would be
yes.
wooing.
Right. Yeah, just like
They
they
would be-
were. Yeah, they love Republicans. Apparently.
They love them. They love Republicans. They want to kiss Republicans. They want to be
Yeah.
Republicans. They're afraid of them.
They needed more Republicans in the administration.
Yes, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you know, as much as, like, I'm sure Donald Trump is going to do everything that he says he's going to do with, you know, with everything. And I think what's going to happen is that he is going to betray the promises that he's made to some people. Like, for example, like, when, you know, the few people he was able to convince because they were anti-genocide, the few people who were like, you know, hey, this shit is really fucked up. Like, I don't want to look at this shit anymore. And, you know, all he has to do is be like, I will end it. I will stop the bombing. And
It's pretty good.
I will finish the job. Like, all he has to do is say that, and, people are so hungry, so desperate, that they're willing to believe this fucking jackass.
Yeah.
They're willing to believe him because they're so desperate. They're so desperate.
Yeah.
And, and also, there's people out there who are like, okay, fine. You don't want our vote? You're saying fuck you to us? Fine. Okay, fine. And, I get really, I would hear different people I heard different interviews from people who are Arab American who are voting for Donald Trump. And, they were doing it as like a protest vote, straight up, like as a protest vote. And I can't, I can't really say anything against them because it's like, as much as I think they're absolutely voting and they're absolutely not in their best interest at all, I would still understand that. Like, I myself did a protest vote back in 2020. I did a protest vote against Donald Trump. And it's really insane to me to see the Democratic Party so actively push away the most blue voting bloc consistently since 9/11 and say, fuck you, we don't want your vote, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine
And
that Donald Trump is your protest vote. That says a lot about our society.
that is disgusting.
Yeah.
That is really disgusting. And and it's become to the point where it's all a spectacle, isn't it? And I
It
think
really
what's going
is.
to happen is the people who did vote for him for that reason, I think they're going to get pissed off at him. And I think that because, let's be honest, like, he fucking lost votes too. Like, he's so fucking repugnant. One thing that happened, especially after he got shot, well, after he got his ass shot at, one thing that happened was that, after Ronald Reagan got his ass shot at, his popularity skyrocketed immediately. It's like the election was in the bag at that point. When Donald Trump got his ass shot at, his popularity did not go up. He got made a shitload of money, certainly, but his popularity did not go up. Which is why I
I'm
thought
surprised
we
by
might
that.
have a shot at avoiding someone like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I knew, and something I told my parents was that no matter what, like, things are going to get a lot worse, and that we are going to swing more to the right in this country, no
Yeah.
matter who wins.
Right.
And and like, I gotta confess something, and this is something that is
Confession time with Conquer. Okay.
yes,
Let's go.
this isn't a fun, sexy secret. This is a gross one. So I ended up voting for Kamala Harris. And I certainly did not do it.
That concludes our stream with Conquer. You are now shunted. You are banned.
I,
Banned from the stream. Take her out. Bye.
you know,
All right, she's gone.
yeah.
I'm just
So-
kidding. Kill her. Oh no. Name it. Calm down. R.I.P. ears. Oh no. It's okay.
And, like, I remember, I remember watching, some of these speeches, and I was like, Jesus Christ, lady, like, give me something, any reason at all to vote for you. And what I ended up doing, the reason why I voted for her was, certainly it wasn't because of Palestine. There was a policy that she implemented, that she talked about, which I didn't even think she,
Yeah.
she probably lied about this, but
Right.
it was a policy that basically ensured, care for your, like, sick, basically like family leave, like, where you would be able to have people come to your house to, like, do, like, family care for, like, elderly parents and elderly people living with you. And
Oh, okay.
it was literally, she talked about it only a few times, and it was literally the only reason why I voted for her, because I worry about my family
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, my family's getting older, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm trying to convince them to. I'm trying to convince them to leave America, essentially,
Yeah.
because you know, personally, like, and I thought about leaving America at one point, but like, I think that I'm needed here, but I think with the chaos that's gonna happen, um, I think that like you know, was like really thinking about trying to, you know, get my family out of here if I can convince
Yeah.
them to get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually
Um,
I I'm actually moving into Saeed's house.
are
Uh
you?
yeah, Uncle
So I moved.
Rathbone's coming home to the house of Saeed. So get the kids ready.
I felt one thing that was it was gross though because I literally like I cried in my car for like fucking 20 minutes after I dropped the ballot off. Like
Jeez. That's heavy. Saeed said, which one?" I guess he's asking which home. That's such a flex when I say I'm coming to live with in the house of Saeed, and he's like, "Which house?" This motherfucker.
he's flexing
He's flexing.
his
That's right.
capital.
Mm-hmm. Like a good capitalist. So you cried for 20 minutes after you voted?
Yeah, I
You
did.
really felt good about your decision, didn't you?
No, I felt horrible about my fucking
Tears of
decision.
joy.
I I literally no, I'm actually not kidding at all. I literally cried for like fucking 20 minutes in my car,
Yeah.
like after I dropped the ballot off. I was
Philzor
like,
says that he cries for about 20 minutes after every Rathbone stream, so that's nice. That's really cute. Thank you, Philzor. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make light of your confession.
no, I needed a laugh, like because that was a really low moment for me. I did
Yeah,
not feel good about that.
yeah,
Like I did not feel good. It really felt bad because like I was, you know, and I remember like the end of the Empire conference, and I was very like I was actually pretty impressed with Jill Stein.
mm-hmm,
Like, um, it definitely changed my mind about her in a big, big way.
mm-hmm.
Seeing the end of the Empire Conference, and I mean, of course, I always loved Butch Ware, but I remember, like, yeah, that was definitely a low moment for me.
Yeah,
And, you know, like, I mean, obviously, like, but I was thinking in my mind, I was like, Jesus Christ, you know what? This bitch is probably, if she becomes president, she's probably gonna do something to like make sure that people like me are like rounded up immediately and like put into like fucking re-education camps or some shit, you know?
wouldn't be
And
surprised, really.
I did, I did actually, but one thing that makes me, you know, one thing that made me realize something is that like I don't think I'll ever vote ever fucking again uh, in this kind of system that we live in. Like that was a horrible experience. That was a horrible experience.
Yeah,
And like I still believe in voting locally. Like one
right.
thing that's also that's because I mean it directly affects your life.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like one thing that was also interesting to see is that there's people who like voted for both Donald Trump and AOC. Like it was in New York. Like it was like there's a huge block of voters that voted for literally both of these people,
Wow.
which it goes to say that progressive policies are very anti-war and progressive policies are very, very popular. Economic populism is incredibly popular. Sorry, I know it's like what time is it?
Oh
It's
no,
like
I
one
had
o'clock.
something on my eye. I'm listening. I'm right there with you. Um, I feel you though, in the whole voter apathy. I mean, yeah, it's what's the point, you know? I mean, these people are vetted by Zionists, and it all amounts to the same shit sandwich that they
Gonna
shove down
piss
our
people off,
throats.
essentially.
What's that?
I I said something kind of crass. I probably shouldn't repeat it.
Oh, did
But
you? Maybe you
yeah,
should
I did.
repeat it, because I love that. I love crass things.
I said they're trying to figure out who's gonna fist you like more gently.
Yeah,
Like, is it the Democrat or
yeah,
is it the Republican?
I
Like,
know.
who is going?
You know, that's why, like, I just don't really try to cover that much about elections and I mean, politics, yes, but like the whole spectacle. Going back to that idea of it being a spectacle, I want to speak to workers. I want to speak to the about the economy. I want to speak about working class organizations and actions, and I think that's really where we demonstrate material power, over the
Absolutely.
capitalists, and that's how we can force a change. But
Like part of like what I think that like the internet is incredibly important, but part that like legitimate activism, the internet is incredibly important. However, I think what's also like also important is also getting out there and actually doing something. Like I
absolutely,
really love
yeah.
that the interviews you had, the spontaneous interviews with the unionists. That was really
Oh
cool.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know. I want to do
Yeah.
more of that kind of stuff. That just happened. It was very spontaneous. I was just driving by. Of course, I'd been covering that story, but then to see it playing out, about if you guys don't know, we're talking about the longshoremen strike, which they actually, it only lasted for like a day or two, and then I think they got what they wanted, which I was kind of sad about. I was hoping it would go on and really pick up more steam, but of course, we want the working class to get all of the fruits of their labor back to them as they so rightfully deserve. Um,
Absolutely. Especially if they do like any like hard labor jobs. But
yeah,
essentially, I mean, capitalism ruins everything. It ruins everything. It
yeah,
even ruins your sex life. It
yeah.
ruins, I mean,
All personal connections.
all, but yeah, because part of like the weaponization of capitalism is that it uses identity. They love using identity politics as a way to convince people. And something that I try to explain to people when it comes to like, it's like, oh, like, why do we need like, something like a revolution? Like, why do we need to, why can't we just keep things the way they are and, just put a date on it? And, why can't we things like that? The fact it's almost like if you're trying to, the way I would try to explain it to people, it's like if you're trying to, let's say there's a crappy, rickety building on bad foundation and you want to keep the building standing and you start doing things, start adding brand new shiny parts to the building to try to make it stand. But if the foundation of the building is not, solid, that all the shiny new parts, all the reforms for the building, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, you can polish a turd as long, it's still going to be a turd at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that part of like a lot of the revolutions that have happened, and this is absolutely positively no offense to the civil rights movement, the gay and lesbian movement at all, or the suffragettes, but Kwame Ture was saying something kind of interesting where he was saying like one of the reasons why he doesn't talk a lot about gay and lesbian rights is because a lot of the rhetoric in during the gay and lesbian movement, the sex revolution, was rooted in the continuance of capitalism.
Mm. Yep.
Like
Yep.
you cannot, I mean, it's argued still in this neoliberal fashion, and
It's the thing that
and
just
it
can't be
is
named. You can't say the C word. You can't call it out. I just watched a documentary on like greenwashing, and not once they're talking about all this waste that gets thrown in, across the world through our over consuming, and not once did they ever say the dirty C word. They never said the word capitalism. They never want to incriminate the system. They always want to manicure it, cosmetically amend it, but never outright, you know?
few things that are wrong, just a few bad apples is all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But a bad apple doesn't seem that bad actually when you think about it.
Bad apple
Doesn't seem
spoils
that
the
bad.
bunch.
Hey, if I can live with a bad apple, if my circumstances, challenge me hard enough, like I could potentially compromise with the bad apple. I could the bad. It's just it's just one bad apple after all.
Just like
You know,
Netanyahu, we get rid of Netanyahu, we free the sausages. Everything works out in the end for the Palestinians and the Israelis. The two-state
it
solution.
what it's wild to hear like liberal copes because like I'll one like liberal cope that I'll hear is like Hamas made it impossible to ever have a liberalism in Israel to have a two-state solution, or Octagon the Seventh made it impossible for a two-state solution to ever happen. It's
Yeah.
like, what a fucking cope that is. Like, what a fucking cope that is. I mean, number one, like every single president since 1948 has talked about a two-state solution. It's never happened. If this was ever if this was a situation of borders of drawing lines in the sand, this would have been solved a long ass fucking time ago.
Yeah. Facts.
You know? Like this has nothing to do with like oh, we need to implement like because and part of even having the two-state solution, I mean, you brought this up before, where it's just a continuation of the apartheid, and what they want is just to be like, hey, we gotta give them something.
Yeah.
We gotta give them something, anything to so if we want to keep doing diaper land shit, we gotta we gotta at least comply a little bit. We gotta play ball if we want to, but
Yeah.
they can't even help themselves. For example, like when the International Criminal Court issued the issued the investigation, the investigation started picking up. They did the whole thing where they tried to prosecute some of the diapers who were doing the fucking rapes inside the prison systems,
Mm-hmm.
but they couldn't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a swarm of diaper hogs go and rescue the rapists from Sidi
Despicable.
Timon prison. Like, referring, of course, if the chat doesn't know already, or if there's some people in the chat who don't know already, the infamous Sidi Timon
Yep.
incident, where there's the Palestinian that got that was where
Raped.
there's a video of them being gang raped live, and the diaper farts tried to prosecute the person who did it, and there's basically a giant January 6th style situation where they demanded the release of the holy warrior, who only raped in self-defense, apparently.
And then they paraded him around as a celebrity in the Israeli society.
He should be able to, do that for self-defense. I mean, after all, that guy's butt attacked his penis, like.
Boom.
Sorry,
Got
that
him.
was terrible. That was bad.
I don't think it was a penis. I think it was a metal rod or something.
Oh God. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, and I never would have thought in a million years, that, like, that I would see on live TV like a American allied country having a straight up like riot, like saying that like we should be able
To
to
grape.
rape people
Yeah.
for self-defense.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought on God's green cock I would ever see something like this. Not ever.
Literally
And
Nazi shit.
and I mean, I was very interested in sexology and how like before I became very invested in this, and how like capitalism affects like sexual behavior in cultures, and especially in our culture. And I think about how people who and I remember watching videos from different parts of the world where there's very serious issues with human rights, and there's one place in particular where like there is a legit rape culture. And I remember being like astonished seeing this. And and to think that this kind of attitude, because I mean, even like seeing it from like a third, like a place where there's high insecurity, like where it's like a developing country, it's still shocking to see people be like, yeah, like women are commodities, we should be allowed to do this.
Right.
And it's still, and for me to see a country that receives my tax money, more of my tax money probably than I get myself,
Yep. Definitely.
and
It's
they
wild.
are, and they, what, like, as you think about, like, what do people protest for? What do people, what do people go out on the streets and risk their bodies and lives for? For individual rights. And it's like, you're doing this because you think you have the right to rape people? And I mean, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised because um, when we read about like how capitalism affects sexual behavior, it's not all that surprising that rape cultures do pop up because everything is commodity, you know,
Mm.
especially sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And um,
It's a good
I mean,
point.
not just because, yeah, I mean, everything is a commodity.
Yep.
And, part of like, I'll bring it up right now, actually. There's a bunch of articles I was reading prior to this. It also, when I was, doing research for, uh, you know, uh, basically like um, for this particular talk and for like the rape culture shit,
Conquer, you still there?
viewing articles of capitalism really a fan. Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, there you
Sorry,
are.
did I
It
leave for a
was
second?
frozen for a second, or it seems like it's coming in and out. Were you trying to pull up something? Maybe that's why it started freezing.
Yeah, I tried to pull up something, and yeah, essentially, like it became it got to the point where like there's gendered advertisements.
Mm.
There's a vested interest in always like appealing to this false idealization of what a human body should look like.
Mm-hmm.
There's the vested interest in making sure that people aspire to look a certain way, to want to be a certain way, because you get money out of them, right? And also part of what happened during the post World War II, I mean, or during World War II, is that women started being a part of, the part of production, part of labor. And after World War II, that stopped completely. It's like we have to implement family and family
Yeah,
values, and
they had to
that,
rally around the war
eliminate
machine, obviously.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and it was a way to eliminate women from the workplace.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
It's the cultural
and
hegemony of
so
capitalism.
right, right, and it makes me angry that people will still continue to not to deliberately keep saying that this situation in with Israel Palestine is based on religion.
Yeah.
And one thing about that I want to bring up as far as like capital of religious critique is that like I understand how you feel and I respect it, like because it is what it is, and people are and I think that people should be free to feel to explore their beliefs. Like the way that I try to explain to people is that religious belief is in religious books. A lot of them should be I recommend people to read it, but I recommend them to read it like it's a work of fiction, because it is. It is a work of fiction. They're
Right.
culturalized stories that essentially that is a collection of knowledge and inherited traditions to try to pass on greater truth.
Right.
And all the Judeo-Christian religions, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all of them are deeply, communist in nature. All of them. And like Kwame Ture was saying, the principles of Christianity are just, and they are. The principles of Judaism are just. The principles of Islam are just. It does not matter, like, that there are religious extremists. Religion is often weaponized by imperialism
No
as a
doubt.
way to, because it's a perfect way to be like, okay, God has mandated us to do this. We're chosen by God to do this. Just like, manifest destiny, or the Jewish Holocaust, or the current Holocaust that's happening right now.
Or Lebensraum. Yeah,
Um,
all of it's the same
yes,
imperialist logic. Yep.
yes, and it's just, I was going over, different quotes, and I came across this quote by Karl Marx that was really great. And I'm sure you've heard the Karl Marx quote that religion is the opiate of the masses, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that quote is often misused. Um, the quote, what it actually says, because people will say, Karl Marx said that, oh, religion is the opiate of the masses. What Karl Marx actually said, the entire quote, was that um, religion is expression of suffering, and it is the protest against suffering. It is a way to help alleviate the pain of the people, and that's why I called it the opiate of the masses.
Ah.
Yeah,
So it's not
yeah,
like they're
and
trying to. It's not like it's a drug, but it's more. He was meaning it more sincere.
yes,
That it was
yes,
that it served a purpose. It was useful in alleviating the
yes,
pain.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I want to bring it up right now, because it's really, really great. But essentially, yeah, it basically says very clearly that. Um, okay, here we go. Religious suffering is, at one of the same, the expression of real suffering. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of the heartless world, and the soul of the soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people. The abolition of religion, it is just illusory happiness of the people, is their demand for real happiness. To call on them to give up their illusions about their condition is to call on them to give up a condition that requires illusions. The criticism of religion is therefore, in embryo, the criticism of their voice of tears for which religion is their halo. And that's the quote from Karl Marx.
That's pretty.
And Karl Marx was Jewish himself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the the Jewish voices have often been very leftist, because the Jewish principles maintain one of the principles is the maintain of social justice. And the Quran expresses the same thing, and so does the Christian Bible.
Yeah.
You know, and it really frustrates me deeply, um, to see this, because what they're doing is essentially the most un-Jewish thing you can do. People
Right.
don't talk about um, that. Yanis Varoufakis said something very, very potent, where he goes, "The best friend of the anti-Semite is the person who looks at the horrors of what is happening right now, and says they're doing it to protect the Jewish people."
Mm.
That is the best friend of the anti-Semite.
That's
Yeah.
pretty profound.
And because it's true. I mean, like, if you want to promote anti-Semitism, all you have to do is be like, hey, they got to do it. They got to do it to protect the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
The Jewish people would not be safe unless we do this.
Right.
And that and they don't understand that what that does is make Jewish people around the world less safe, because people will look at this and be like, and think that this is Jewish principle. This is not Jewish principle.
Yeah. The most
And
anti-Semitic organization is Israel.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And, like, I can't really blame people for sometimes thinking
Right.
that they're the same.
Yeah.
But which is why it's important that people like us, people like you, we keep making the point over and over again that it's not the same. It's because it has to be said. It has to be said over and over again. That's not
Yeah,
the
we're
same.
trying to undo decades and decades of propaganda by the
Yeah, it's not.
yeah.
But I mean, essentially, it's like if they want. I mean, and this is obviously makes it clear that they're not interested in the protection of the Jewish people.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
Like, I remember hearing Joe Brandon be like, "Oh, like it's a fuck of a thing to say to an American citizen, hey, that country that's going and like going buck wild on their neighbors, I should say.
Yeah.
That country, if that country didn't exist, you wouldn't be safe here." That is a fuck of a thing to say to an American citizen.
It's very
Like,
racist.
what? Yeah, it's racist because it's like, what? I'm not safe in my own country?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what? Does that not? Does that mean that I'm not safe here in America?
Mm-hmm.
Is you were a Jewish American? It's like, and it reminds me. So I've been reading Attack on the U.S. Liberty, one of the many books I've been reading, and Lyndon B. Johnson. I compare him to Joe Brandon quite a bit because LBJ did some, he did do some kind of some progressive things where he did pass the Civil Rights Act. However, he also passing the Civil Rights Act does not wash away the stink of genocide.
Yeah.
It doesn't wash away the stink of what he did in Vietnam. And it was interesting because he was really hardcore Zionist. He was a big time hardcore Zionist, LBJ, and he was trying to court the Jewish Americans, and a lot of the Jewish American students were protesting Vietnam at the time, and he goes, well, "What do you mean? Like, am Yisrael high? Am Yisrael high and my diapers are dry? Why won't you vote for me?" And they're like, "You don't get it, do you? You don't get it. Like, what you're doing is we don't give a shit. Like, if we're seeing our friends coming back in body bags, if we're seeing like the massacre of the Vietnamese people, we don't give a shit if you say you're Israel high and your diapers are dry. We don't give a shit. Like, do you think that like it's a problem also when I think that when I see a lot of when I see pandering to from liberals as a way to signal that they're not racist or they don't have racist tendencies, which I mean, one thing I'll say about everyone, including myself, is that everybody is a little bit gay and a little bit racist, and because we all have our and it's on the spectrum.
Not me
mind
though.
you.
I'm 100%, 1,000% straight. Never had a gay
You're
thought cross my
1,000%
mind
straight.
ever. And impeccably non-racist. Obviously, I do all the right things. Anyway, but yeah, I understand your point. Keep going, please.
But because I mean we all have our individual biases, right? Including myself, especially myself. Like, I've had to get my ass corrected before, and I'm glad it happened, But it seems like the worst thing you can do to someone is call them a racist. They can be as racist as possible, just don't call them racist.
Saeed takes objection to what you just said. He says, "Let me live the rest of my years in peace, Conquer." Okay. He doesn't want to think about himself being a little gay, okay?
Or a little racist.
Or a little racist, please. Leave him alone. Saeed's the real victim here.
You know
He
what?
didn't need
Saeed
an-
is always.
Well,
Hey, don't take my word for it.
yeah, right?
Like even like Donald Trump, like he always says some gay shit a lot. Like
That guy.
he did the Arnold Palmer shit, which that
What
was
did he do?
hilarious. Like he like mimed a blowjob.
Oh.
Like yeah, he talked about like some like giant hung dong, and he mimed the blowjob on during his one of his rallies.
Who keeps doing
I'm telling
that?
you.
Well,
You
you
didn't
heard
know.
it here first. Then I mean, Donald Trump is a little bit gay. I didn't know that.
He is. Yeah, he loves that shit. Like he always big man, strong man. He had tears in his eyes.
How many of you guys are impressed with Conker's impersonations tonight? I mean, I for one, I think they're top tier. I had no idea. I love your Donald Trump impression. It's pretty good. I can't do
I
impressions.
just funny because like right after he got his ass shot at, he got his ear pierced. You know, from
Yeah, he's
500
got his
yards.
ear pierced. That's right.
I used to like do this thing, and please, by all means, I want to make something very clear. I am not advocating for violence against anyone, including Donald Trump. But I would pretend, I'd go up to my dad and I'd pretend to be Melania Trump, you know, praying at her bedside, being like, please, God, please guide the killer's hand.
I know. She's
Guy,
probably
he's-
praying that she's probably praying that the shooter was a better shot.
Please guide the killer's hand. Let him explode his fat monkey heart.
I think they have a wonderful relationship, and I object to your characterization of Melania. I think she loves her husband dearly.
Relationship. She lets me grab it whenever I want.
That's right.
I, Donald Trump, have declared a new holiday. I have called Grab Them by the Pussy Day. It's a national holiday.
And what day is that? What day is that? Is Grab 'em by the Pussy Day?
Every day.
It's Monday? It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Perfect.
You get to grab as much as you want.
Well, I grab my pussy all the time. My cat, of course.
I see it. You're doing you've been doing it the whole time.
I do it on
stream.
stream constantly. But
You got an ebony pussy. You're just whipping.
really,
out
this
and
place is just crawling with pussy, and sometimes the pussy just comes on my lap. So what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? You gotta grab it.
You gotta grab it. Well, on that note, I want to say thank you so much for hanging out for a little bit, and finally we put a face to a name. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us, or half a face to a
Yes.
name? Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we part ways for the evening?
Yes, I would. I was gonna ask. I know it's getting kind of late. I didn't know if you were like tapping out. But yes, I do actually. There is something I wanted to share.
Okay.
So there's a book I've been reading called Pleasure Activism. It's about it's written by a Black Panther, female Black Panther,
Okay.
and she does a series of interviews. And she did one for this it's a theater troupe, and they're from Jordan, and this interview is about shame and fear, and or fear of the unknown. And I want to share some of that. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Especially when it
Absolutely.
comes to,
Do
like-
can we? You mean like share like a link, like we can watch?
Oh no, I was gonna read the book
Oh,
out
read
loud.
it. Okay, yeah, even better.
Yeah, hold on.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is, I mean, I've been really invested in trying to do my best to, like, you know, anything that I do on my spare time and any kind of like entertainment I do, it's like it has to contribute to, you know, to my overall education.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Take it away.
All right. Zizi, this is the name of the theater troupe. We heard you are traveling around the globe giving workshops on fear. We are now on the road trip trying to face fear, fear of seeing the other and the other seeing us. Fear from being stopped from our right to a movement from one place to another. Fear from going back to a place that became too small for us, a place that is getting smaller and smaller and accepting us. We are dreaming of expansion, of no limits to where do we look. We are searching for freedom and freedom from fear. Zizi, is that possible? No, my darling, you shall never be fear-free. The best you could hope for is to befriend fear. Think of it as such. Imagine if you can take the adrenaline of whatever hormones that fear makes the body produce, invest in this as a stimulant, as a drug, and use it towards deeper and more radical living. How exciting can it be to feel your heart racing as you start to smell your sweat? It means you are alive. Indeed, fear is important. Also, fears keep us alive and well. However, you know, my kaboha, karbuha, most fears that control our lives are mythical. As my BBF recommended, when faced with fear, imagine the worst case scenario and experience it in your head. Bring the fear into proportion. I congratulate you for facing your fear rather than running away from it. If you see my auntie, the lazy crocodile, do not feed her, nor the bear, but be bear aware. And then the next part is about shame. This is quick. Zizi, we would like to talk about shame. Do you know what it means? We're trying to cleanse ourselves from it very hard. We don't believe in the one. We feel deep pleasure in all these practices. And this is how we learn to resist and survive. Zizi never feels shame. What shame is shame anyway? However, interacting with earthly two-leggeds, I get the idea. Deep and silly like snot. It starts with the body and stays there. How can the two-leggeds fight shame or cope with it if the foundation is shame? If the body they carry is shame, the body they are, blood, veins, flesh and skin, bone and snot and inherited trauma embodies shame. And then the last part is, hold on one second. We, on the other hand, are trying to practice humility. We want to become nothing. We believe that if humans reach a point where they know they are just a moment in time, then we can all just relax and enjoy our fucking cigarettes. What if we pause and say that without humility, one cannot love or maintain love? By love, we mean creating a safe and solid space for the people we care about to be themselves, and to allow for mutual growth for everyone to be involved, to be extremely sensitive. Zizi recommends you drop this notion of belief. How about you suggest, try, attempt, and maybe trust this, or rather than believe. There's very little space for humility in belief. The pleasure hidden secret like a whisper in the sharp pain of freezing breath, venturing into your lungs, hiking up into a mountain of all beauties. And then the last thing is basically, she talks about facing the fear. No matter what happens, if you piss your pants, piss your pants. Like, let there be pee. It is what it is. And, you know, as Saul Williams said at the end of the Empire Movement, we are not afraid of a white boy. You know?
Eat myself. Wow, that was really good. Yeah, I mean, I actually pissed my pants as you were reading that, so I feel like I got a head start on everything. And
Political Activism by Adrienne Marie Brown. She is a Black Panther,
sick.
and she's
Okay.
traveled around. Yeah.
Cool.
And
Well,
then, of
Pleasure
course,
Activism by, what's her name?
Adrienne Marie Brown.
Adrienne Marie Brown. Well,
Yes.
I've been looking for new books, so maybe that's the next one. Saeed said he's going to start reading it today, so look at that.
Yeah, no, I mean that it's kind of funny because I had like a shitload of material that I wanted to like share, but then like I didn't share any of it.
Oh, I love how I do the same thing sometimes too.
That
But don't worry because I feel like we can do this more regularly. What do you guys think? Everybody's been saying like
but
can we have Conquer just like as like a co-streamer now? So now apparently I got to start putting you on the payroll, you know? This is not what I planned for. But you're going to now you have a new job.
speak. What do the people have to say?
They're all I don't know, you can't see the chat, can you? Well, they're all singing your praises right now. So,
Cute chat. I really appreciate that.
yeah.
My little,
It's
my
been
teeny
all
little Habibis,
yeah. It's been all positive. This
my little boner pills, my little wrath boner pills.
well, on that note, Conquer, I think I'm gonna sign off here. If unless if anybody has any other questions for Conquer before we end the stream. Saeed didn't even
Yes,
get a
please.
bathroom break. He stayed the whole time. That's awesome.
Oh, shit. Wow. Go pee, Saeed.
Yeah, I know. It's time for it to, yeah,
Go
go
release that
relieve
stream.
yourself. Um,
Yeah.
well, thank
I
you.
also have to.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence on the stream, and thank you for all the great work that you do and all the things that you help out with for the stream. And if you are up for it, I'd love to have you back on sometime real soon. And like I said to everybody on the chat or in the chat, I want to start doing more interviews. So give me people to bring on the stream. I'd love it. And I think tomorrow we're going to have Travis Keller live in the flesh, aka Buddy Head. We're going to talk to him about his movie and all the creative things he's up to. And we'll just keep it going, okay? But thank you, Conquer. And I guess will you be around tomorrow? Are you gonna? Okay. All right. Cool.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll get back started just like right where we left off today, and we'll keep going. Oh yeah, we're gonna put this on the YouTube channel as well. Would that be okay if we put this whole interview sort of? I mean, it wasn't really an interview. It was sort of a conversation, but
Yeah.
but it's nice to know that we have such based people. Okay, like I said, this community is full of based comrades, and you've seen it here first and foremost. Love to conquer, says Saeed. Good vibes, says Dr. McRib. Definitely, says this damn Yankee. Name It Maine says thank you, Conquer. Just all around positive feedback. So,
You
all right,
guys are beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful group of people.
yes, and let's keep it going, shall we?
Yes. Let's keep this fucking party going.
And
Let's
let's keep
free
the community
Palestine.
growing.
Let's keep the community growing. Let's keep it going. We are going to free Palestine. We're going to do this revolution. We're going to make this shit happen, okay? Because we don't have any other choice.
Yeah, we got to push it in the right direction, don't we?
Yes. We are primed right now for radicalization, either for the worst or for the better. And I think that it's absolutely important that, for everyone out there, do your best to educate yourself. And when I mean pick up a book, like an actual, like a paper book, if you can. Like, if you want to really learn about the world, I mean, videos are great, documentaries are great, but if you can, pick up a fucking book, and make sure it's a book that you like. Make books sexy again. That should be the new slogan.
Absolutely. And on that note, I don't think we could follow that with anything better. So,
Free Free
Oh,
Palestine.
there you go.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Hell
Yes.
yeah. That's right.
Say
Um,
it, say it loud. Palestine, you make us proud.
you make me want to
All
go
right.
join a
Here,
protest right now. March in the
I
streets.
feel pretty worked up right now.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go do it. Let's go punch that fucking BB bitch tits right in the face. Right in his little fat monkey heart. Fucking genocidal shark face. I, you know. And let's not forget, we had that motherfucker come to our country, and we gave him, our democratically elected leaders gave him 58 standing ovations.
I forgot the number. Was it 58?
It was 52, something crazy. It was more
That's
than 50.
insane. Either way, the fact that he even spoke at all is ridiculous.
And like, I mean, I don't want to hear anyone say any, like, I mean, North Korea has its fucking problems, but like, if anyone ever talks shit about North Korea, let's all end about how like, oh, they idolize their leaders, they think they're gods among Earth, which, I mean, people don't really think that anyway. It's just the propaganda.
Right.
But still, don't want to ever hear that shit again. And still, and the fact is, we had this person come to our country and threaten American citizens.
Really a dark day for America. Although all days are dark for America because America should not
I'll
exist.
never have worse respect for Shia Tlaib than I did in that moment, for sure.
Yeah.
And we watched that together.
Yeah.
I was at work.
I
And
remember.
we had the liberty in front of him. She just had to sit there, and she had her little sign up, and I was just like, God, that woman.
Yeah.
God bless her, man. Anyway, I'm going to stop yapping. I had a great time. I really like doing this. This is great.
Me too. Absolutely. And I think the chat liked it. We'll have to do it more regularly. I mean, you know, like I said. Well, thank you for chatting with us for a little bit, and we'll have to do it again soon. Okay, Conquer?
Absolutely.
Well, have a great
All
night.
right, everyone.
Free Palestine. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Absolutely. Free fucking Palestine.
All
Good
right.
night, everyone. Good morning. Have a beautiful day.
All right. There you have it. Bye-bye to Conquer. And thank you for being on the stream, which, like I've said, it doesn't happen often that I have guests on, but I want to start doing that more often. Make that a thing. So that was cool. And you guys follow Conquer on Twitch as well, because who knows, maybe they'll start streaming more guests. I know, that's what I say. All right, thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Simping. Thank you, Damn Yankee. Thank you, Dr. McRib. Thanks everyone for hanging out for a little bit. And thank you to Saeed for gifting 100 subs. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Join me tomorrow, about the same time, maybe earlier. We'll see. But like I said, we're gonna have Buddy Head on. I'm excited about that. I guess that's pretty much it for now. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And sleep well, you know, get some rest. Thank you, Miguel. Miguel, you're everywhere. You see all. See you, Dr. McRib. Thank you, Simping. Thanks, Iggy. I'm just seeing all your comments. Good night to Saeed. Good night to everyone. All right, I'm bad at goodbye, so I'm just going to say goodbye.